what's going on?
We are here. We are live, ladies and gentlemen. Impromptu late night chit chat with Bruce Dale and Dave McRae. We just decided to do this.
Just do a little impromptu Friday night chit chat, just hanging out, doing whatever.
Right. We haven't. You guys haven't seen Bruce in quite a bit. I think the last time you were on my channel was when we saw the world premiere of Halloween 2018.
Has it been that long?
Yes, it has.
We did the Haddonfield Reaper since then, but that wasn't like live or anything. But like, wow,
that was a lot of fun to do, though.
That was the last time. Yeah,
that was the last time.
Yeah, that was from. I always want to say Nathan Phillips Square, but it's not Nathan Phillips Square. It's Young Dundas Square.
Dundas Square
here in Toronto. Just Dundas Square.
Dundas Square. Well, it's officially called Yonge and Dundas Square.
Right.
That's because it's at the intersection of Yonge and Dundas. And
right.
I think people feel that we need to call it Yonge and Dundas. Just call it fucking Dundas Square. Because that's what I call it. That's what everybody calls it.
Yeah.
But that was the last time that you... because there was somebody, I forget what it was. I was doing some live stream I was doing recently. Maybe it was, actually, I think it was during my show with Tony.
Okay.
That I do, the Two Dudes and Some Bullshit.
Yeah.
I think somebody in the chat room said, how's Bruce? Where's Bruce?
Aww.
Yeah.
I love it. I love the love.
A while.
That's great. Thank you,
It's been a while since, since we actually... Well,
it's cool. It's fun. I bet you some of you have probably seen some of those earlier episodes we did for Off the Reel, like way back.
They might have. Yeah,
2015.
That's a long time ago.
I've actually seen some people, because Dave and I sort of check in on that channel once in a while. I acknowledge it's not really live and we're not really doing anything with it.
No. That's another time. I actually, some of them might not even know about it. I haven't talked about that actually on this channel at all because it's been dormant. It's been dead.
It is. Like 2015 really was like the last time that we did anything.
We really should get that going.
Actually, not 2015, 2016. Because we posted
Halloween the night he came back.
Yeah, and it was also the making of, the behind the scenes episode that we did.
Right.
That same time.
So like what? Okay, now what are you? They've got people in the chat. How many we got? We got 51 people watching so far, which is always great. What are people saying here? Let me just see what people are saying, because I don't want to leave you guys out. What's poppin', Dave? Wouldn't you like to know?
Some great comments about the Boogeyman piece too, which I saw and I thought it was great. Like again, for me it was like you said, it was like a concept kind of piece, but just like really exploring the new mask, how it looks under the lighting. Yes. And I was saying to Dave that, seeing some of the shots and stuff were super cool. I just loved what you did with some of the lighting. Yeah. And you made it look dramatic. You made it look scary. And I loved that.
Well, that was the whole point of the video. I saw some comments come in from a few people saying, it was too slow, or I don't get it. You're just walking around. And, that's the point of the video.
It was kind of more like I don't want to say like a painting, but like it's just a series of images sort of put together in sequence, but just getting a feel. It's more like a capture of the character, if that's the way to put it.
Exactly what it was. But to make it more appealing for the audience, I added the sort of little tiny theater of the mind. Exactly. Yeah. Because I gave the character doing something just for because if I was just walking around in the dark to music, although that's always cool, it's kind of nice to have sort of an end climactic moment where, imagine this, there's a woman with a baby and, you do the whole thing. Yeah, and that's what it was. It wasn't supposed to be this in-depth sort of, anything like that. So, but most people seem to have, really enjoyed it.
Yeah,
so
yeah. Cool. Well, I think one of my favorite shots was, I'd be interested to know, like, if any of you had a favorite shot from that. You've probably already asked that.
No, I haven't, because it just went up yesterday, so I haven't had a chance to see. I've been reading a few of the comments that have been coming in, although I admit I can't read everything because there's just so many.
Right.
But I've seen a few, and most people, I think, really liked it, which is always good. But that's a good question. I don't really ask about... It seems a little sort of...
maybe self-serving.
Okay. What did you got? What's
so it's okay for me to ask. It's okay for
right, exactly.
Well, I'm
glad people did though.
Yeah, I would say that one of my favorite shots was the what's it called? The opening, like when the door first opens. There were actually several. There was a couple of shots in the hallway where he looks real serious under the blue light, the posters in the background, the lights that were on the wall, and then there was the shot at the front door where it's just really slowly creeping in on Michael Myers and his face. Right?
And did you catch the snowflakes?
I like that.
We're dropping
actually.
down. Yeah.
I liked it.
I thought it was cool to put Michael Myers, to put the boogeyman in sort of a context that you wouldn't see him in.
You never see him in snow.
And no,
never snows on Halloween.
Of course not. But I didn't want people to get the impression that no.
I've had snow on Halloween.
Yes,
there has been snow.
Ago.
Yeah, but still
20 years ago.
But for us, it's not like foreign. We've seen it.
Not
We've
that
lived
much
it.
snow, though.
You know, like I remember my parents saying to me, like, Bruce, you got to put on a winter jacket, and I'm like, the fuck I gotta put on a winter jacket? It ruins the whole point of wearing the costume when I gotta cover the costume with my winter jacket.
It does.
And I was like trying to negotiate if I could like wear it under the costume, but then it made the costume all puffy and ugly and looked stupid. And it was now I'm like,
look like Fat He-Man.
I'm like Stick Puff Marshmallow Man, and it's like I'm supposed to be Michael Jackson, and it's like, but it just doesn't work.
But the point of having the snow, like to have the snow, was just to add something different to it. It's like what we did with Haddonfield Reaper, right? To have Michael, stalk somebody in an apartment building, and it was just to add this, because everybody does the same thing. Everybody does and it works, and it's great, and it's fun, but why not add something just a bit new to it?
I think that's always one of the most challenging things, like just to kind of go
but still being true to the character.
Yeah, and I think going on a filmmaking tip for a moment, that's always one of the challenges when you want to expand a universe. It's like, how do we take the existing character, add more to it to build on the mythology, to make it grow, but still keep it feeling authentic to what the original context was, or the original story, or the feeling and the vibe and everything, And that's one of that's a significant challenge anyway for filmmakers, like when you go to do a sequel or you go to do more. And I think that's often why, like a lot of sequels, you end up in a situation where either they're not that good, or they're kind of weak because they don't explore enough new stuff.
Yes.
And they could have gone an extra distance. They could have done more, but then they don't necessarily. Exactly. So it's, you know what I mean? It's definitely a challenge, I think, as a filmmaker. But
we have a super chat that came in here from Mark Williams. Thank you, Mark. Appreciate it. Says 5 out of 5 for just being Dave. Freaking at the end of the day, McRae.
Love it.
Cheers. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. I love that. I love that. What else are some people saying? Let's see here. Where's my mouse? I think I lost it. 1 second here. There we go. What are some other people saying? They are saying the mask looks great. Blue light for the win.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that short film was stunning. Lighting is key to atmosphere. Dave's becoming a legend.
Love it.
Well, thank you. I loved your new fan film. Hi. Oh no, I lost my spot. Hi. But why was this short little film scarier than the actual 2018 movie? Well, I wouldn't go that far.
I think that was
I know what you mean, though. I know what you mean. No, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
The closet part was creepy. Dave, shit show, McRae. Thank you so much. I love the closet scene. Hope you didn't break the door, Dave. No, you see that? That's all.
I thought you were going to.
No. See, that's all part of movie magic, folks. Is that obviously, as somebody who deals with sound a lot, as a voice actor, and I have a lot of experience now mixing and mastering sound with the short films that we do and all that kind of jazz, that when I was shooting that scene and I'm banging on the closet, obviously I have to be careful because it's glass. Or sorry, it's it's glass. It's a mirror.
Yeah.
So I have to be careful. But what I do is I stop myself. So it's more like it's more like I'm going like that.
Yeah.
But then in post production, what you do is you speed it up just a little bit, so it doesn't look like I'm going like this, where obviously it looks like the clip has been sped up, but it's sped up just enough where it just adds a little more intensity to it. And then with the sound design and adding in all the sound of a banging and a clunking, it really looks like, but that sound is actually not coming from the actual clip from when I hit the closet. That's added in afterwards. So it creates a sense of this intensity, and that I'm actually hitting the closet that hard where it's banging that you're like, holy shit, you're gonna but that's not actually happening. Well, but I love that. Like, I love actually the post-production process of filmmaking. I think more than I actually like shooting.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I like shooting. Don't get me wrong. But it's in the editing room, as they say, where the movie really comes together. So.
Well, very much so in a lot of cases, right?
Yeah, exactly. What else we got here? Dally Williams, was your girlfriend playing the woman in the closet? No. That was all theater.
Me.
No, that was all theater of the mind. That was all a woman's... this is going now, people are probably like, oh, so it was all theater of the mind. It was all the old school radio plays. It was all fake, ladies and gentlemen. Those are just, I have a library of probably about 50,000 sound effects. Like I just have all these sound effects from women breathing and men breathing and babies crying and women screaming and this. So you just take that, and you have to take the right ones. You can't just take any one.
Well, that's why there's so many variations of the same sound effect.
That's right. So you have
need the right one for
exactly.
the right context.
So you have to take and the one that sounds like it's in the right space.
Yeah.
As well. So you take it, and and that's what it was. It wasn't anybody. It was all done through sound design, believe it or not. So
which I wanted to make a point. If any of you, I don't know if anybody out there has ever heard any of the old radio plays. Like I'm talking from like back in the day. Yeah. But if you ever get a chance to get your hands on one or get to listen to it, they're kind of fun, actually.
They are.
You take it for what it is.
Yeah.
It's you have to listen to it in context of when it was made.
Yeah.
But I think
they
they're
can
kind
be a
of
lot of fun.
Oh yeah.
I would have loved to have been part of that.
Well, they always had like these great sound effects, very eerie, moody,
and the sound effects,
lots of atmosphere.
Of course, back in the 20s and the 30s, the sound effects were done while they were actually recorded.
Yeah,
so
it was in studio, big machines.
Yeah,
microphones
the wind machines.
In the space. Yep.
Thunder was the big.
Like metal sheet.
Yeah, metal sheet. It was all done actually right. That would have been what an era to be. And as a voice actor, that would have been so much fun to do that.
Yes.
That would have been so much fun. Would have felt like you really accomplished something because it was all like practical and hands-on.
Yeah.
Would have been great. Let's see here. Ryan Allen says it's always Dave attacking an on-screen victim. 95% of every character is off-screen or a voice. It's true. Theater of the mind, folks. Spit says, I can see the H-18 mask on the top right. Okay.
Yeah, I was telling Dave, like, I saw that when he threw it up on Twitter, and I think it was Facebook as well, right?
I put it on Facebook and Twitter, yeah.
Yeah. And so, when I saw it, I was like, oh, shit, Dave got a new mask?
Yeah.
And
well, that's from...
I'm seeing it in real life, and it...
Again, that's from the awesome, generous Chris Baber, who is not only a patron, but a huge supporter of the channel. And he had this, and it was a mask that he absolutely loved. It's an independent mask. It's not a Trick or Treat Studios mask. So it was made by an indie artist. I think there were only 10 or 12 of them made.
Wow.
And so the attention to detail is just
it looks great.
Like in person, it looks like unbelievable.
Right. Like, yeah. Well, and that's what I was about to say. Like looking at it right now, even just from here in the room, like I love the detail of the eyes. How the eyes are a little bit droopy.
Yes.
And there's like the score marks and the etchings in the eyelids.
It looks exactly like the movie.
Yeah. No, it was great.
It looks great. And I said to Chris, I don't know if he's watching or in the room, but I said to him, dude, like you don't have to get like I wouldn't get rid of it. You don't have to do it. He's like, listen, dude, I support the channel. I love what you're doing. And I think this would look great behind you. And I said, if you want to send it to me, I will take very good care of it. Because you guys know me. I mean, I will, and you know me, how well I take care of all this shit. Yeah. So, again, Chris, thank you so much. It has a great home here. He seems to be happy up there, perched right next to Jason. So, although they tend to have arguments, but I think they'll be all right.
I think it's the miscommunication because of Jason's droopy eye.
Right.
I think Michael always thinks he's looking at him funny.
Exactly.
There's really no beef.
No, that's exactly what it is. And, under the mask, and of course, this is all through, telepathy. I mean, they neither character actually speaks.
Michael's an emotional guy, really deep down inside. I think we can all agree.
I agree with that.
He puts on the front,
but
agree. Really deep inside.
Exactly.
He's quite an emotive
another
creature.
super chat. Thank you so much, Kevin Fishgall. Kevin says, Dave, your videos brighten my day. Even my wife enjoys watching them with me. Bruce, you're the man. Can we get more of you two together? Yes, you can.
All right.
We definitely will. Not that kind of together. Get your mind out of the gutter, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, no, Bruce and I, for those of you that don't know, Bruce and I have been best friends for 27 years.
Yeah, almost 27 years. Yeah.
We met in grade 7, or for you Americans, 7th grade. Have you guys noticed that? Or have you noticed that the Americans will always put the number first, and here in Canada, we tend to put the grade first.
Yeah, that's true.
So we'll say grade 4, grade 5, grade 7, grade 6, grade 12. But in the States, I've noticed that you guys will say 11th grade, 12th grade. That's kind of funny. I don't know why that is.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
I know it's the same thing.
Yeah. No, but I hear what you're saying. I hear what everybody's saying.
It's just an interesting observation.
I get you.
But anyway, we met in in 7th grade.
7th grade, yeah.
And we've been best friends ever since. And the funny thing is that we both work in the film industry.
Yeah.
And we were wanting to do that ever since we were like kids. Like we wanted to do that.
Well,
so
this was the thing,
kind of
though, right?
That we actually did it.
Fun fact about us. So two things I want to share. One.
Here we go.
So we met in grade 7. First day of grade 7. I've got like this little Jerry curl thing going on, whatever, tie-dye shirt. Dave
it's 1992. So,
exactly.
You know.
Dave comes in with like cut off
and a USA
thing.
shirt.
USA shirt. Yeah, it was like a gray thing. Anyway, we were actually, we've only ever been together. We were only ever together in one class.
Yes, that's
out of our entire school career.
That's right.
We went to different high schools. We went to the same intermediate school, right?
Yes.
Grade 7th and 8th grade.
Yeah.
But
it was a junior high school.
Yeah, we only ever were in the same class on the first day of school.
Yes.
In 7th grade, the first day that we met.
Yes. And then you were
never since were we ever in the same class.
And you were moved to another class.
Yeah.
In the school. Now we went. So our school where we met was a junior high school, which shut down, by the way. The school is no longer there anymore.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It's not a school anymore.
Are you serious?
It's not. No, the enrollment was just down, so they shut it. And they shut down Leslie Park as well.
Are you serious?
Yeah. That's a side note. The fans don't know anything about that.
Right, okay. So
anyway,
yeah.
So,
these are like schools back in the day, like in our neighborhood where we grew up.
Yeah,
like
we can talk about that off camera.
Yeah.
But, so it was a junior high, and then I went to a different high school than you. You went to an arts high school, because Bruce is very talented in the visual arts, and I just went to a regular public high school. But the funny thing is that we remained so we were only in one class.
Yeah.
Ever in our lives, and we were in the same school for 2 years.
Yeah.
But we remained best friends for 27 years, despite the fact that we weren't even in the same school. I mean, obviously it helps that we live in the same city now too.
Yeah.
Which, of course, Toronto being the New York of Canada, obviously, you know, it's where you go essentially, here or Vancouver, if you want to be part of the film industry. So that always helps, obviously, that we live in the same city. If you lived,
but there was that stretch of time in university where because you were in Niagara Falls. I was, here in Toronto, and then, it's, again, very different, right?
Yeah.
But no, it's super cool.
Yeah.
I forget the second thing I was going to share, but it'll come back to me at some point.
It'll come back.
Yeah.
Let's see, we got another super chat from BMT. That's a bacon, mayonnaise, and tomato.
Right.
115 super chat. Thank you, BMT 115 says, "Hi Dave, the mask looked great, and I'd like to know your thoughts on the Dead Ringer mask by Handy Boy Studios. Keep it up." He yelled up for some reason. No. Okay. So I forget the gentleman's name over at Handy Boy Studios. Magnano, I think his name is. His last name. He does great work. You guys know that the Michael Myers mask is, having been collecting masks now for the better part of 10 years, I've noticed that what is a hero to one is not necessarily a hero to another. When I say hero, it's like the quintessential sort of look of that particular
Everybody's
mask.
got their own taste kind of thing.
Right. So I can look at a mask and say, this is, I see Nick Castle, that's the one from, and somebody else could show their hero and what they see, and I look at it and go, I just don't see it.
Right.
It's not necessarily a shitty mask, but I look at it and go, I've seen a lot better.
And there would be some taste that factors into that.
Absolutely.
Everybody's got slightly different tastes.
Absolutely. So when it comes to what Handy Boy Studios is doing, he does dish out some really good masks. But I can't say that the Dead Ringer is probably his best. It's probably why he calls it the Dead Ringer. But when I look at the Dead Ringer, there's something about it in the brow.
Yeah.
There's something about it that is a little off to me in terms of if I was looking for the quintessential Nick Castle H1 mask.
Okay.
But it's certainly not a bad mask. I mean, you look at it and you definitely know that this is supposed to be Halloween 1. For sure. So it's a good mask. And a lot of people really like it. But for me, it's probably not one I would pick up just because of that detail, and because it's the details that can make or break a Michael Myers mask. So that's what I have to say about that. Hopefully that answers your question. Okay. Oh, Nathan Oswald says, skipping my super chat. Oh, I wasn't skipping it, Nathan. Let's see if we can go find it. Where is it here? There it is, Nathan. Thank you, Nathan. Really appreciate it. $5. My favorite line in Bohemian Rhapsody is Freddie saying to the producer, "I pity your wife if you think 6 minutes is forever." Yeah, that was a good line. Have you seen that
I haven't, yet? But I heard it's amazing.
It's a great movie.
Yeah.
And Rami Malek, who won the Academy Award for Best Actor, definitely deserved it. I mean, it was okay.
I gotta see it. It
was a good movie.
Yeah,
very good.
I've only heard good things about it.
He was great as Freddie Mercury. Now, one of the criticisms that the movie gets is that obviously, it's a feature-length film. Mm-hmm. It's a biopic on a part of Freddie Mercury's life. And a lot of hardcore Queen enthusiasts and fans say it's a little watered down. There's so much about the band and the relationship and Freddie and what they didn't touch on. And Freddie Mercury was diagnosed with AIDS. Sorry, not AIDS. AIDS. In 1987, I believe.
Okay.
And in the movie, they push that up to be a little more dramatic for the Live Aid concert, and because they had to tell, there's a specific story that they're telling.
Okay.
And so what you see actually happens, but when it happens, they had to sort of rearrange a couple things to be able to tell a dramatic story in terms of having the Live Aid concert as the focal endpoint of the entire thing.
Okay. And so they changed historical fact to meet the dramatic narrative.
Historical fact of
that right?
Historical fact of when it actually happened, not what actually happened.
But why would there be need to change that?
Well, because when you're telling a dramatic story, right? There's a certain they wouldn't need to tell it if they were telling a different part of the story. But in terms of having this the end, the Live Aid concert, and because him being diagnosed with AIDS is almost it's a fundamental sort of important part of his, I don't want to say legacy, but that's why he died. He died of AIDS.
Right.
So to have that in there, to add some dramatic weight and bottom, they pushed up when he found out about it, as opposed to having it 2 years after the concert to give the emotional sort of weight at the end of the movie. A lot of people didn't like that. It didn't bother me per se, because I understood what they were sort of telling and what they were doing. And if people knew how many biopics take creative liberties, that's not necessarily the Queen story, you'd be stunned. As you know, not every biopic gets the pop culture sort of reaction that Queen got. Not every biopic gets the attention in terms of Academy Awards and box office that Queen got. So whenever you see based on a true story or based on true events, or whatever the case is, you have to understand that there are more liberties taken in a lot of cases, because to be able to tell somebody's life dramatically and to compartmentalize that into a certain time frame,
you got to put it in a sequence.
You got to
have it make sense.
Sometimes you got to do that. From my understanding, everything that happened, but they had to sort of,
They changed the order of the timeline a little bit to fit the dramatic narrative.
Yeah.
Well, so I can understand.
I can understand why it pisses some people off.
Yeah,
I get it, totally. But I can also understand the other side of it.
I guess, as a filmmaker or as an audience member, you would kind of hope that the person's life who you're choosing to do the movie about is interesting enough that you don't have to do that.
Exactly.
But I also understand why they would have made those choices, but
I would have been upset.
I have to see the film. See the film.
I'll tell you right now, regardless of what side of the fence you fall on, the changes for the sake of dramatic effect not working for you and you're pissed off about it, or it doesn't bother you like me, there is almost universal acclaim from both sides of the fence, whatever side you fall on, that Rami Malek was Freddie Mercury.
Awesome.
I mean, his performance was, and Queen is just one of my favorite bands of all time. He's one of the greatest frontmen, if not the greatest frontman of all time because of how he was able to connect with his audience and how flamboyant he was and sensational.
Yeah.
He was just unbelievable. So, anyways, I highly recommend it. I checked it out actually just a couple weeks ago. Okay, let's see here. We got another super chat down here. Patrick Thorpe, thank you, Pat. Patrick, hey guys, just wanted to say keep kicking ass. Keep kicking ass! Ow! 94 people in the chat room. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. This was impromptu, but Bruce was over and we decided to just
do it up.
Come on.
It's the end of the work week. Stop by, hung out.
It's exactly
catch up.
See, the work week for me all blends together because I do most of my work from home.
I would say it kind of blends for me too, but just in a very different way.
So now, the fine people in the chat room will enjoy this thing I want to bring up. It Chapter 2 was it was shot back up here. What was it not? Chapter 2, I believe it was, because the first chapter was shot up here in Toronto.
You know what? I admit I don't know.
I think Chapter 2 was shot back here.
Something tells me it might not have been.
Interesting. Let me.
But I'd have to look that up.
Let me see.
Yeah.
It.
I know that we didn't supply it. We supplied some equipment on it, but not all of it.
Did they go to Panavision?
I don't know. I've been very much focused on other aspects within the business, so I haven't paid as close attention as I would like to.
Yeah, so currently 2 filming locations have been discussed. Stage work will take place at Pinewood in Toronto.
Okay, then.
While some
yes,
field work will take place, in Port Hope.
Right.
Which double for the figure. Yeah, Port Hope is a town just a few.
Not too far
an hour
from
here, whatever it is. I knew. What was I gonna say? Where am I here?
I'm excited for it too, though, because I loved the first It, and I loved what they did with the first It.
Here's the thing, I
actually really enjoyed it because I saw the original, of course, and I've read. I admit I haven't read the whole book, but I have read parts of the book.
Right.
And I found the book actually very scary. The parts that I did read, and it was actually quite disturbing at moments. And I understand just from reading those passages why it's regarded as one of Stephen King's best pieces of works in the course of his career.
It is, and a lot of people don't realize this. I'm sure the fine folks in the chat room do, but a lot of people don't realize that Pennywise is not a. I mean, he is a clown, but the clown doesn't exist. A lot of people don't realize that the clown is the manifestation of what the child sees in order to gain the child's trust.
And it's a manifestation of their fears equally, is it not? Because when you see Pennywise change form and change shape and do different things at the end of the film.
It's what you most fear. But actual Pennywise himself is not necessarily, he's not a physical... He ceases to exist. He's not like Michael Myers or Jason or Freddy. They actually, Pennywise can be a clown. It can also be a giant spider. It can be whatever it is. Yeah. But he becomes a clown in order to actually gain the trust of Georgie. Right. And then here's the thing with It. I liked It. Mm-hmm. I did. Mm-hmm. I watched it again about 3 or 4 months ago.
Okay.
On Blu-ray, and I didn't like it as much.
No,
I don't hate the movie, but I just found it
Really? I saw it a couple of times in the theater, and I enjoyed it equally each time. In fact, I went to go see it with my kids, and it was great. Like, I liked the horror funhouse kind of vibe and thing that they did with it. Because it's very much tied in with the character of a clown.
Right.
So it was very suited.
Yeah.
I loved some of the, for me in horror films and paranormal type films, when you see demonic type characters where they do the whole, I'll call it twitch movement. I don't know the proper term, but they're all twitching and everything with their movement, and if it was a dance, they'd be popping. You know what I mean? Like, it'd be that kind of thing. But they, I love that kind of stuff because I find that shit just super creepy.
Right.
And if I saw that kind of shit in real life, I can imagine it, and it would just trip me the fuck out.
Right.
So, you know what I mean? When I saw them do some of that with Pennywise at a few moments, like when he climbs out from this contorted position from inside the closet and shit.
That was cool. Yeah,
when like there was that one moment where you see his hand grow larger, like this beast version of him, I was like, okay, like they took it places that they needed to, and I really liked that they did. Like, it was
I agree with you on that. I think my reservations about I think I have an issue with how Pennywise was utilized in the movie. I think at the end of the day, I think they did this one too many times.
I might agree with that.
And I think that what was so great about... Look, I understand that Tim Curry's performance, although legendary...
Yeah.
I understand that, although extremely popular and very nostalgic for a lot of us who grew up with the miniseries from 1990, who, by the way, for those of you that don't know, the miniseries was directed by Tommy Lee Wallace, who, of course, is famous for directing not only Halloween 3, but also who was the production designer on the original Halloween with John Carpenter and is the one responsible for the Michael Myers Captain Kirk mask.
I did not know that.
That being said, it is much lighter than what the book is.
Oh, yes, it is. Yes, it is.
But one thing I will say is that the thing that I loved about Tim Curry's performance, whether it's true to the book or not, is this contrast. 1 minute he's and then the next he seems to be, don't you want it? Almost like this. Well, now he's a brilliant actor anyway.
Yeah.
But there was something about very unsettling. Not necessarily the movie as a whole, because you watch it, it's a little dated, it's a little cheesy.
Yeah.
The stop animation with the spider at the end of it's bad. Okay, it's bad. It's 1990. But when you look at Pennywise, Tim Curry's, and it's that contrast, that's why people loved it so much. There was something genuinely unsettling about the switch on a dime.
Well, yeah.
He seems so... With Bill Skarsgård, I believe his name is, his Pennywise, he was good. And it was a darker film, more true to the book. I still think they could have gone darker. I think they could have gone much darker psychologically.
They may do that with the second part.
And what I think is that he felt like... I felt Pennywise was... I guess I have to watch it again, but it felt to me like Pennywise was in this mood. Just a lot, Georgie. Come on, Georgie. What do you think? It seemed like a little, and
not
I know
enough undertone tension.
Not enough. I want to. My favorite part was two parts.
Right.
When after Pennywise comes out of the closet, he's all like.
Someone said that new Pennywise sounded like Scooby-Doo. I would say there were moments,
There were moments when he did sound like Pennywise.
Yeah, that was number one Wonder fan. Number one Wonder fan. Yeah.
But I think there's what I really like about there's two parts in the 2017 It that I can think of off the top of my head that I really liked with Skarsgård's It. Pennywise was when he comes out of the closet, that one that you like, and he comes up to, I think it's Eddie, and he's got him by the collar, and the other kids are sort of off to the side. I forget what he says, and I forget what he does, but there's something that draws his attention over here, and there's some sort of visceral change in his character.
Yes.
There's something that's like there's something. Sorry if my breath was bad there. There's some. I just realized I went. There was something that was just so frightening. And then when he's got Beverly in that state where she's levitating,
right,
and he comes up to her and she's trying to, like, she doesn't want to look at his deadlights or whatever it is, right? And he opens his mouth, I think, or he says something. And he says something to Beverly where it's kind of like, it's like the thing that Tim Curry says, where it's like, don't you want it? It's not that, but it's that moment where you see the change. It was like, oh, that's what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for this undertone of, you know, he looks good.
Right.
He sounds good.
Right.
A little too much CG where you didn't need CG. I think they could have gone darker. At 1 minute it felt like The Goonies, next minute it felt like Stranger Things, which I get, you know, it seems kind of, but I felt like it could. One of my favorite moments of the entire film is when Ben, sorry to cut you off, is when Ben is sitting in the school library, I think it is, and he's sitting there, and the camera is focused on him, but the librarian in the back is out of focus, and there's a moment where it gives me goosebumps right now, where if you pay attention, it's almost like her face is really kind of long a bit, and she's going like this, like a Michael Myers almost head tilt. It's very strange. It was done deliberately. It's subtle. Not everybody noticed it. I'm sure people in the chat did.
I love that. I gotta go back and watch that.
It is the creepiest fucking thing. That for me is the creepiest whole part of the movie.
Yeah.
It's that getting it. It's like, wait a minute, is the librarian fucking Pennywise? Oh shit.
Right.
What the? And Ben doesn't notice, and then it cuts to maybe a close up.
Well, that was the other thing.
Wait. It cuts to a close up of the book that he's. I'm all fucking excited here. It cuts to a close up of the book that he's sifting through, and then it cuts back to that same shot.
Yeah.
And the librarian's perfectly fine and normal. And she was always out of focus. So it was never, it's like, is that,
I bet you there's probably a number of other moments that are like that.
Maybe, but that was great. That's the kind of shit I'm talking about.
Yeah, that stuff is creepy.
What It Chapter 2 is going to be like, I don't know. I knew a buddy of mine, a buddy of mine who was a PA on It.
Oh, yes.
On the first It.
Yeah.
And I was able to talk to him, and he was telling me about, what the set was like. He's not a PA on the second It, though.
Right, okay.
So, unfortunately, I don't got any sort of juicy little tidbits to what the set was like on Chapter 2, like how I did with the first one. But I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, I am
nonetheless.
too.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, 100%.
But that's what I'd have to say about that. Okay, sorry. Let me just go back. I think there was a couple of super chats that came in. I don't want to disappoint anybody. Let's see here. I got that one. Kevin Fishgall again says, thank you so much, Kevin. That's your second super chat. Appreciate it. Have you guys seen the Rocket Man trailer? I think Taron Egerton is an automatic lock for Best Actor in 2019 because he does his own vocals. Wow, I didn't know that. I wouldn't say that necessarily because we don't know what the competition is going to be like this time next year. But I have seen the Rocket Man trailer. Leah is a big fan of Elton John.
Okay.
So she's the one that I'm going to go see it with. And
when's it come out?
Comes out May 31st, I think, a week after my birthday, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll probably go see that with her because she's the one you want to go. It's like going to see Halloween with me. Like,
right. Right.
Right.
Ooh, the next one, Dali Williams?
Dali Williams?
Queen or Michael Jackson? Who's your favorite? For me, Michael Jackson, hands down.
Yes. I would say that we have to remember that they're very different as well. Michael Jackson was a solo performer.
Yeah.
And his shows were... Michael Jackson was, regardless of the whole thing with Michael Jackson, you cannot argue that he was one of the greatest entertainers of all time.
Yeah,
and
super talented, wrote all of his own stuff, amazing range and voice.
His performance, the choreography was great. You go to Freddie Mercury, well, that's a bit different because now he's the front man of a band, and he's a different guy. Yeah. But the way he was able to connect, not everybody, and he was a brilliant singer live, and not every band and singer can sing live well. And there's a lot of bands that they rely totally on auto-tune.
Yep.
And unfortunately, when you go to see them live, you're like, it's okay. Yeah. There's something off there. Freddie Mercury was who he was, and he was belting out.
Well, that was in the day when bands, you had to have talent.
Yes, you did.
Auto-tune was used exclusively for those days when, maybe
you're a little under the weather.
Yeah, you're under the weather. You've been singing a lot, and your voice is kind of hoarse, and so you need a little bit of, tuning just to get by, like, that kind of thing. Like it wasn't used as a gimmick, as it is now. Like where it's pretty much essential to a track in so many ways.
Totally agree. So, let's see here. Grave Warmer says, hey Dave, would you be open to receiving short Michael Myers fan films shot on cell phone or something from fans to your channel and pick one to show on your channel every so often? Thanks. That's a great question. Let me think on that. Right now, I don't want to make any promises because I like to be in control of the content that I put out, so I don't want to set any unrealistic expectations for people. It's a great question. It's something that I might consider, but let me think on that and then ask me again down the road when I sort of think about that. Because I got some things on the channel that I want to concentrate on that are more important to me. But it's not a bad question. I like it, but let's revisit it, okay? Let's see here. Matthew Jensen says, I feel like I've seen your friend Bruce somewhere, but I don't know where. Well, Bruce...
I get that a lot. I really do, though.
Well, if you mean out where you are, I can't help you there. On the channel, Bruce and I, we were fortunate enough to go to the world premiere of Halloween here in Toronto at TIFF, and we covered that.
Yeah.
So he's
I've been on the channel a couple other times, I think, before that.
Yep. So maybe
I've got my own Instagram and my own Twitter, and I post stuff, and there's photos of me up and whatnot. And
so your Twitter is at Bruce_Dale.
The other way around, at Dale_Bruce. Yeah.
At Dale_Bruce. And your Instagram is?
Instagram is Egyptian Ink.
Egyptian Ink.
That's right.
That's right. There you go. I don't have Instagram yet. And people have been hounding me to get Instagram. But you want to know why I don't have Instagram? Is because, people already know this, because I have Twitter, I have Facebook. And I'm getting better, actually. So
it's a lot to manage. It is.
It is.
To have a lot, and to be constantly posting and keeping all the feeds up to date with new stuff and, thinking about what you're going to post where
that's what I was
and
just
when
going to say.
Why.
It takes
a lot
me,
to sort of think about.
I'm getting better at posting on Twitter, but it took me a while to remember to do that, but I find I'm getting better. So I'm inching closer and closer to getting an Instagram account. I had 2 Instagram accounts last summer, unbeknownst to me, that had 550 followers. And
how did that happen and you not know?
Somebody created an account and pretended to be me. So I had to contact Facebook, who owns Instagram.
Right.
And I had to prove who I was and have them take it down, because the last thing I want is somebody to have an Instagram account in my name and then start saying shit that I'm not saying.
Yeah.
It would be very easy to prove it's not me, but who wants to go through that, right?
Right.
So anyway, very interesting. Let's see here. A lot of questions. Hey, again, if we don't get to your question, it's nothing personal. There's a lot of them that go by, and Bruce is like me. We like to be thorough. We're not best friends. We're nothing. We tend to yap.
I think it's wonderful that there's so many questions and that you guys have so much to say and contribute. I really do think that's super cool.
Look, I can't.
One of the things I always talk to Dave about is just the sense of community with people, and just that's one of the things I love most about tech is just how it. It might sound cheesy, but it's true. Just how it brings people together.
Absolutely.
You get to connect with people on ways that you couldn't. See, that's what's so exciting about how when we grew up, none of this tech existed, right? And I don't know the ages of everyone that's listening right now, but, internet was only something used by the military or the governments, you know what I mean? Yeah. And it was around the time when we were in our late teens, early 20s that internet really hit as accessible on a personal level.
Yeah.
And then cell phones were introduced, and then social media was introduced, and then so I can only imagine what's going to continue to be introduced, especially with the way certain technologies are going with artificial intelligence or what's it called? VR, AR, all of that, some of its integrations. It's very exciting in terms of a frontier. But where we were able to connect, somebody moves to another city, that's it. You pretty much lose touch because your parents were like, yo, I'm not paying that long distance bill, get off the phone.
That's right.
So then when Facebook came out, it was like, oh shit, I can connect with someone and still talk with them and they live somewhere else on planet Earth. This is very exciting.
Yeah, exactly.
So maybe I sound really old by saying all that shit, but it's real though. It's real. So anyway.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, no, I totally agree.
Yeah, it's cool. I don't know. Anyway.
For sure. And again, for those of you that don't know, because a lot of people might not even know who you are, because obviously I've gained quite a few subscribers since the last time you've been on the channel.
Right.
Bruce is the National Manager of Education and Training at William F. White International here in Toronto, which is Canada's largest distributor of motion picture, television, and theatrical equipment. So when Hollywood comes to Toronto to shoot major motion pictures, which they do all the time, White's is one of the companies alongside Panavision that help supply
among others as well.
Yeah.
So the first it was our company that was the exclusive supplier of the lighting and grip and generators and cranes and any other type of equipment that was used to shoot it. We supplied the equipment, and then they shot it here in Toronto and surrounding areas. Same with the First Pacific Rim, and there's a number of TV shows. We do Titans, that's on Netflix right now, and
that's right.
What else do we do? There's all kinds of stuff like the RoboCop and Shape of Water. We were the exclusive suppliers of Shape of Water. And
look at all the and all the TV shows and the independent films. The
American
Star
Gods
Trek
is another one.
Discovery shoots up here, and
they do.
And, I mean,
we do supply some equipment to Star Trek, but our competitors.
So Bruce is
interesting stuff.
His
Very cool.
experience and info when it comes to the production process of film is invaluable. and you know, I think I want to have more on the channel because you guys will learn a lot for sure. I learn a lot. I mean, there's a lot I already know, obviously, just being a film guy and working in the industry, but most of my job is sort of the voice acting side and being an actor for commercials and animation and all that kind of jazz. And I do meet a lot of producers and directors and all that, but you handle more of your balls deep at the, you know, as they say in sort of the behind the scenes in terms of the production side.
Well, I would say, and definitely it's more the, like, because we supply the equipment, right?
Exactly.
And my role in particular is in training, in education and training. So we design job-specific training programs for our employees.
That's right.
And a large part of that is teaching them what the equipment is, you know, everything from customer service to health and safety to a whole variety of different things.
That's right.
So, like, and that's my role as the leader of that department in terms of designing those programs with my colleagues. And, you know, I write some of the stuff and I teach some of the stuff, and then there's other people that contribute at other offices across the country. So it's definitely a real collaborative effort.
Yeah.
But there's quite a broad spectrum of knowledge that we all have within the company.
Yeah, and you have to. I mean, you're working in the film industry at the highest level.
Well, and to sort of be in this position.
Yes.
Like, because, you know, if I'm training a new recruit or I'm training an existing staff member and you want to give them context and understanding to where, you know, an equipment supplier fits into the larger spectrum of things, right? It's one important cog in the entire machine.
Right. And let's not forget.
And just such an important part. Like, you know, if you don't have camera, you don't have lights, you don't have an image.
Exactly.
Like, so, you know, and sometimes it's a part of the industry that's undervalued.
100% it is.
You know,
I mean,
but it's and
let's not forget,
it's one of those inherent challenges. We'll say
for about 3 or 4 years, you also handled a lot of orders as well that would come in from a lot of the films and the TV shows and things like that. And you were the one that would send the orders to the warehouse. So you would speak to a lot of, you know, production managers.
And so, like, because when I started out in the company, right, I started as working in the warehouse and loading the trucks and pulling the equipment and doing inventory and, you know, and working in the warehouse. And then from there was a position for a client service representative that opened. And so I dealt with the commercial industry mostly, you know, and it was everything from major car commercials, IKEA commercials, to stuff you'd see posted up at Tim Hortons and everything in between. But then I also worked on, you know, put orders together for the original Hulk movie, like the first Hulk, not the very first Hulk, but the Hulk, with Edward Norton, which is the first of the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah.
That whole thread, that saga.
Right.
And so, you know, I, you know, was the guy helping others. There was a couple of other CSRs who did a lot of the work, and then I would help support, did other independent Canadian features, and
it's great. I mean, it's
just everything in between, right?
Yeah. I want to do an updated video for my channel, since I have a lot of new subscribers, and the video we did about a year ago sort of got lost in the mix of the videos where I do a tour of the whites, because I think people would find that really interesting.
Well,
all the equipment and all that shit. Be a lot of fun.
And then there was there's a question here from if you go down, Patrick Thorpe.
Yeah.
I think most people forget that film is a team effort. There is no one person that does
100%.
for the most part, and that's 100% true.
Yeah.
And it's often, you know, to be real with you guys, that's one of the big challenges in the movie industry. There's a lot of ego. It's a social political landscape. Yeah. That's just the truth.
Yeah.
But, you know, and sometimes through that, the magic of making the film and an appreciation for all the collaboration gets lost on people, and it gets forgotten. And it's unfortunate because there's a lot of hard work. Like, if you've ever watched a featurette or a making of where you've got a director who says, you know, this just magically happened. And it's like, well, that's bullshit. There's nothing that magically happened. All of that happened because there was a bunch of very hardworking crew members that worked their asses off for 14, 16 hours in the day and made all that happen.
1 second. I just want to say, so I just want to address David King here that says, this rambling makes me wish we were still in the early stages of movies where this became a silent movie outside of Dave. Bruce's rambling sounds like Charlie Brown's phone conversation, womp womp. David, I know you're a supporter of the channel, but the invaluable information and experience that Bruce brings in terms of making movies is something you should pay attention to. Okay? I've seen you post this about, rambling, he's rambling, but to be fair, if you're going to call out Bruce rambling, you have to call out me as well, because if there's one thing you guys know I do a lot of, it's ramble. So,
well, then I think the thing to remember is that the the information that I'm providing is stuff that I think would be of interest to people, because I know that you focus
it's a movie
on
channel. I
making
focus talking about movies. Not every time I go live, we got to talk about Halloween. Fuck, let it go.
But it's and anyway, I think it's stuff just trying to show some stuff that I think you guys would
and I know
enjoy
look,
and find interesting.
And to be fair, look, I mean, in text, it's hard to understand when somebody's just going like this to you. Joking around, being satirical, but I've seen you post it a few times, so I wasn't sure if you were being totally legit or not. But if you weren't joking, I just wanted to say, hey, pay attention, because the experience that is good shit. Because there's a lot of things that I learn from you, because you're neck deep in a lot of things that I'm not neck deep in on a daily basis. So
I think for certainly if there's any I don't know if there's any filmmakers in the community here, but if there are, then this is certainly some stuff that we can talk about later in future shows or whatever.
For sure.
Because if you are interested in making movies, no matter where you are, I know there's a lot of people from the States that tune in. And if you are interested in making movies and you really want to get serious about it, especially from a producer standpoint, there's some tips and stuff and some info we can certainly give you that
absolutely
you might find really interesting. Anyway, food for thought for later.
Yeah, for sure. Maybe we'll do a whole sort of video on that.
Yeah,
it's cool stuff.
Yeah.
Let's answer some questions. Let's see here. Brandon Treat says, Dave, what would you think if here's a Halloween question. Dave, what would you think if I made the sequel to Halloween 2018 and Laurie and Michael fight and Laurie burns the building, she dies, Michael escapes, kills Karen, then cops show up and kills him? Sure, make it.
Sounds intense.
Sounds intense. Make it, Brandon. Make it. I want to watch it. Arby Haruntunian. Hey, Dave, do you think they'll release a new 4K complete series of Halloween?
For sure.
Well, you mean the entire series?
Yeah, for sure they will. For sure, because
I don't know, because
historically,
Sony just no, you heard that not Sony, Samsung just dropped out now of making. They held, I think it was 37% of the market share of making Blu-ray players and 4K players, and they're no longer going to be doing it.
Well, that's because they'll invest their technology in the next medium,
right? Exactly.
Streaming.
So I think that I'm not saying they won't, but I don't know if they'll make an entire series on 4K. Okay. That costs a lot of money.
Okay, but good point though, because maybe the 4K, it may not be released on disc, but like we're saying, it'll be streamed,
digital, probably
digital.
Maybe.
Yeah, because most things now are either shot in they're either going to be shot in 4K or they're going to be shot Ultra HD, or usually they're shot in 4K. That's usually a minimum standard,
right?
Especially for companies like Netflix,
right?
But then there's productions that will shoot in 8K,
right?
And then they down-res it later. But it depends on the film, and it depends on your budget.
My door just opened. It's my cat. My cat came in. We got a super chat here from Cody Leach. Cody, you didn't have to do that. I guess he was trying to get my attention. Cody's a channel online that reviews horror movies and horror shit, and he's a good guy. He's a good guy. I like. Let's see, hey, Dave, I just wanted to ask something. You're a beautiful son of a bitch. Whoops, that's not a question. That's funny.
Love it.
I love it. Yeah, Cody's great. Cody, Lee McCoy, the guys from Wham, they have, we all have our unique styles. Cody and Lee are more movie reviewers. They do a lot of reviewing, which I have the utmost respect for, because I'm not really a movie reviewer. because there's a lot of movies, and I'm only talking for myself here.
Yeah.
There's a lot of movies I just have no fucking interest in watching.
No, that's fair.
And there's a lot of horror movies that I have no fucking interest in watching. Right. And if I start to because most horror movies suck. And so and John Carpenter was the first it's a quote. I got to give him credit. I wish I could have said it, but it's so good. I'm going to paraphrase it, and it's true. He said, "Most horror movies suck." Fewer than that. Most horror movies suck. Some horror movies are not bad. Mm-hmm. Fewer than that are pretty good.
Right.
And then then some, maybe a handful, are amazing.
Right.
Like classics, like your Rushmore of horror movies.
Right,
you know what I mean?
Right.
It's true. Most horror movies suck. But anyway, so it's something that I never wanted to come to this channel and set an expectation by being a movie reviewer. If there's a movie that I see that I really like, or that I really hate, that I want to come online and talk about, then I will do that. But I'm in control of that.
Right.
So there's not like a new movie comes out, like the new horror movie that just came out. What's the one? Panic Room? No.
Happy
Escape
Death
Room.
Day?
Happy Death Day 2,
Yeah.
which I haven't seen, which some people say is not even really a horror movie.
Okay.
But Escape Room. Well, I have no interest in seeing it. Maybe I'll catch it on Netflix or whatever the case is. Hang on. So it's something that I didn't want to set that expectation that when a movie comes out, people are expecting me now to review it. I want to leave it to those who do it and do it well. And Cody is one that does it really well. Lee's one that does it really well. Cool. The guys at Wham, they tend to be a mix mash. They'll review some movies, but they also do some funny skits and all that kind of jazz. So they tend to be kind of more of a mismatch of things. But Cody's he's a good guy, and he shares similar hatred for a few of the Halloween movies, and we've been talking about collaborating on a video and just doing one big epic rant, because apparently the people have spoken and they want Cody Leach and I to do an epic fucking rant about something we hate. They didn't say what though, so maybe Cody and I could talk about some food we hate or something. That'd be hilarious.
There's a good question here. Verisimilitude. Hey Dave, big follower of yours. If you could play any role in a movie, what would it be?
Any role. So not character. We're talking about, do you mean character? Like who would I be? What character would I love to be that is already known? Like, I could say Indiana Jones or, James Bond, or what role in a movie.
Like would you be the villain or the protagonist or would you be like
a side character,
the funny guy, or would you be that?
Is that what you mean?
Would you be the first guy that gets killed in the movie or something?
And we'll get back to it. Yeah. ACDC 113089 says, "Hey Bruce, what are some of your all-time favorite movies?"
Okay, so Training Day with Denzel Washington is one of my favorite movies, and it has one of my favorite moments in a movie because I'm a big hip hop fan, and of course 90s hip hop. So there's that one.
Well, you just dated yourself now.
I know. But there's still lots of new stuff that I love too. So don't get me wrong. So lots of great new shit. Anyway, so Training Day is one of my favorites. The original Matrix is definitely one of my favorites.
Both 1999 movies.
Yeah. My taste in films is quite versatile. But then, what else is there? The movie Moonlight is like just an incredible film, really. If I was to create a dramatic narrative, I would aspire to create something of that type of weight, that sensitivity. It was amazing. Awesome. And then if I was to just go totally fucking gangster on something, it would be Training Day, because that shit was just off the chain. What else? Of course, like Empire Strikes Back, Star Wars. Like, that's one of my all-time favorites. And here in Canada, in the last several weeks, it's felt like we're living on Planet Hoth.
Yes,
so there's a few.
We're right in the middle of winter right now.
I'd have to think of a few other things, and if I was to say,
you got a good ballpark.
Yeah. And if I was to say maybe something, I'm just sort of starting to get introduced to a bit of anime and that kind of thing. So definitely the anime Ghost in the Shell. That one I found. Again, just so the cyberpunk era of anime is just so unsettling. I went to go see Alita recently as well.
Don't tell me too much about that, 'cause I want to see
I really liked it, and I'm very excited for what like I don't know. Well, I don't think I'm spoiling it because it's based on
it is.
It's based on a graphic novel series,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And I believe this first movie captures the first 2 books, if I'm not mistaken. So there's still another 3 books. So there's going to be like another few movies.
Right.
But some of the technology that they're using, I think, if I'm not wrong, they're going to be using that, or they have been using it with the new Avatar films.
Cool.
But it was amazing. Like the animation. Because, again, making movies, sure. I understand what goes into it. And Weta Digital, oh my God. Like these guys.
Weta Digital, to me, I seriously have said that Weta Digital is, if not exceeded ILM, is on the same level.
Oh yeah, like they're at least on the same level.
The shit they do is and I knew that the second I saw not only the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah,
but I'm talking. But when I saw King Kong, Peter Jackson's King Kong in 2005, and I went to the theater, and I watched that movie, and I'm looking at Kong, I'm thinking to myself, this is fucking incredible. And there's some digital effects that ILM has done that I'm not impressed with.
Yeah,
there's some digital effects I'm like, I don't think that's good.
Yeah,
I got to admit, I wonder if Weta would have done it better. Weta, better. Maybe. We don't know. Let's see. Verisimilitude followed that up with, yes, any character he was talking about. Character, what would I be? You know what? I'd love to be Indiana Jones. You want to know why?
I could see you. I could totally see that.
Not because Harrison Ford is my favorite actor, though he is. But primarily because Indiana Jones is the epitome. He was like James Bond. I mean, he is the man every man wants to be.
Yeah, he was a man's man.
He was a man's man.
He was like that classic man's man. Yeah,
and he went on adventures, and he got shit done, and he looked good doing it. Yeah. And he had a different woman every night. Not that I want a different woman every night, but you know what I mean. If I was single, I'd want a different woman.
Though, actually, he was kind of.
Sorry,
he was more monogamous, wasn't he?
Well, no, not really. I mean, he had Marion, and then he had a different woman in the Temple of Doom. Then there was a different woman in the Last Crusade.
Okay.
People just like Marion the best. Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, okay.
But cool stuff. Let's see here. A couple of super chats. Nathan Oswald says, thank you, Nathan. I've been wanting you and Cody to do H5 commentary. Well, maybe Cody and I will. I don't know. We're still sort of in the process of trying to figure all that out. Good thing. It will be worth the wait, folks. Let's see here. Aaron Keller, just a $10 super chat. Thank you, Aaron. I really appreciate it. Aaron is a great Freddy Krueger cosplayer, by the way, who lives
really?
here. I think you're in the GTA, right? Which is the Greater Toronto, or are you? I think you are somewhere around there. Yeah, he's great. He's great.
Awesome.
Let's see here. K316, thank you. Hey, Bruce, love the short fan film you did. Of the Boogeyman. I think I did the Boogeyman.
Yeah, Dave actually did that one. Yeah. I was part of the Halloween Reaper. Haddonfield Reaper and Halloween the Night He Came Back. It's good to see the Canadian Dream Team back together again, do a fan film together soon. That. Yes, we will. Oh. No, the Boogeyman was all me, actually. Okay, so earlier in our conversation, I was saying there were 2 things I wanted to share, fun facts about Dave and I. So I shared the first one. You just jogged my memory on what the second thing was. Okay. And that's K316, right? Yeah. You jogged my memory. So when I first started out, like before I met Dave, I studied visual art, right? And I'm classically trained in visual art. And I still do it to this day. You see it, you can see my stuff on Instagram, whatever. But I actually hadn't ever really thought about pursuing a career in the film industry or doing anything related to movies until I met Dave. Dave was the one that I caught the film bug from. Yeah.
I didn't know that till about 5 years ago when you told me that.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like Dave was the one that kind of like really instigated, and he was already into it, recording voices. We did like audio tapes, and we would, shoot videos, and we would do like a fake Coke commercials, and then like I said to Dave, high
8mm camera.
Yeah. Little camcorders kind of thing. Yeah. I think one of our first mock commercials that we did was what was it? It was Michael Jackson. We used Thriller, and then we had an old friend of ours, and he was riding a bike, crashed into the front lawn. Something happened, and I'm like walking down the stairs I'm reciting the lyrics of Thriller as though I'm Vincent Price, like doing that whole thing, lip sync.
It was fun.
It was great. Yeah. So Dave really got me into it, and then when I was in high school, that's where I continued to study art, and I've always loved it. So to this day, I say to myself, regardless of what career path I take or whatever it is I do, I know that I will always create visual art like drawing, painting, illustration, digital artworks. And
BruceDale.ca. BruceDale.ca is Bruce's website.
Thank you. And I know that I will always make movies in whatever capacity. And I know that I will always do those things to the day that I die because I just love it so much. You know what I mean? And it's just like, and that's the thing about
my
film.
invoice is in the mail.
Yeah, right?
It's a 27-year invoice. It's $2.8 million.
Yeah, I was going to say it's going to be really fucking expensive.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. That's really cool. A couple of super chats. K316 gives a super chat just to say I meant Dave.
Right.
Thank you. You didn't have to do that. I think we sort of knew what you meant.
Oh, good.
Will Myers, $14.99 super chat. Thank you, Will. Appreciate it. You didn't have to do that, guys, but everything you donate to goes right back into the channel. So really do appreciate that. Let's see here. Ryan Allen says, almost as consistent as every song by Metallica being complete trash. I'm not sure who Ryan Allen is talking to there, but who knows? David King says, Dave, what made you get into the voiceover industry? What advice would you give for anyone trying to do the same? Congrats on your nomination, and I still think you're very, very underrated. Oh, thank you, David. I really appreciate that. Okay, well, you want to talk about rambling? Hold my beer, okay? But no. I'm gonna try to keep this short and sweet. What got me into the voiceover industry? Well, as Bruce sort of alluded to, I come from sort of that kind of a family, a very outgoing, extroverted kind of family. My dad, for those of you that don't know, most probably do, was a journalist here in Canada, a columnist, a very prominent one. My dad was always the kind of guy that was very extroverted, doing funny voices and all that kind of stuff, and I sort of got that from him. And I've always liked doing all sorts of crazy voices and sound effects, and I'm a very extroverted person, and I wanted to be an on-camera actor my whole life. And that's what I wanted to do. I went to college for film. I studied radio, TV, and film. I did not graduate because I just didn't. I found it very difficult to keep up with the program because there was so much that was happening, so much work that was happening. Obviously, people do graduate from the program, so obviously I guess I'm an anomaly. But I decided I wanted to pursue my career a different way, and I was going to do on-camera acting, and I started to do it, as you know. I got headshots, I had a couple of agents. Yeah. In Toronto, I did a couple of corporate videos, a couple of docudramas that I was in. There's one online, too, I should point it out. I was one of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's friends in a docudrama for the Discovery Channel. Anyway, and then I broke my teeth playing road hockey in 2003, which obviously put my acting career, not that it was a huge career at that point, I was still sort of beginning at that time, on hold. And it was when at that point, because I had a hole in my face, I decided to go the voiceover route more full time. I was doing it then, but I wanted to sort of, I needed to do it because I needed to make, a living while I got my face fixed. And then it just took off. Right. And it took off and I didn't look back. And now I've done all sorts of stuff. I always sort of feel bashful talking about my work and career because it's not something I like to do, because I do it because I love it. I don't do it because I want any sort of real recognition for it. It's just that, the fact that I've been nominated 3 times for a Voice Arts Award is nice.
Yeah, no, I think that's super cool.
Yeah,
very cool.
but because it's the Oscars of voice acting,
essentially.
Well,
and that's the thing is, like, just to be nominated is considered an achievement in of itself, I think. And look, not to boast, but it's like, no,
the fact that I was able to walk the red carpet at Warner Brothers with Sigourney Weaver, not with Sigourney Weaver, but I mean the same red carpet as Sigourney. It's not like we're there arm in arm. Hey, how you doing, baby? She looks great for 70. I mean, I've seen her this close. She looks. I mean, she had a lot of makeup on, yes, but for a woman who's 70, she looks.
She's 70.
She's 70. She's 10 years older than Jamie Lee Curtis, and she looks every bit the same age as Jamie Lee Curtis. Now, I don't know whether that's good for her or bad for Curtis, but I'm telling you, no, it's good. It's good. Yeah, she looks great. So, but the fact that I was able to be there at Warner Brothers on the red carpet and with actors like Sigourney Weaver, Rosario Dawson, and I mean, it was something I'll never forget, and I don't take for granted. And it's to be in this industry, as you know, I mean, it's a cutthroat industry. There's a lot of ego, and I just never looked. I would still love to do more on camera, and I think this channel sort of helps supplement that urge and that need to be extroverted and out there and talking, and because that's who I am.
Right.
If given the opportunity to be in a film, acting, whether it's funny, dramatic, whatever, I would probably jump at the opportunity. I would totally do it. Because I think it'd be a lot of fun. Now, what advice I would give to somebody who wants to get into voice acting is understand that this is rarely about the sound of your voice, rarely about what kind of voice you have. It's all about your acting and performing abilities.
Right.
So I always tell somebody the first thing you need to do in becoming a voice actor is actually take acting classes, because this is about acting. Even if you're not doing animation and you're just doing commercials and promos, it's about acting.
Yeah.
It's about performance. You are always acting. So take an acting class, take an improv class, learn to step out of your comfort zone, learn the art of being able to think quick, and start there. Then once you've taken a couple of acting classes and you learn performance and technique, then you can start to move into the voiceover side, because this is voice acting. This is all.
Right.
Does having a nice voice or a sexy voice or a soothing voice or a deep voice, does it help? Sure, but that doesn't mean you're going to be successful.
It means you might be good at radio.
And even then, not necessarily.
Right.
There are voice actors right now. I'm telling you, there are voice actors right now with seemingly average voices.
Right.
Who are hugely successful.
Right.
And there are voice actors right now with great voices who are struggling to make ends meet.
Wow.
And it's because I don't know their specific circumstances, but by and large, it's because the one with the average voice is just a better actor. And it can come down to that. So that would be sort of off the cuff anyway, to keep it relatively short and sweet. Let's go back here. A couple of super chats that came in. Appreciate it. Jim Dorsey says, Dave, do the internet nerd Dave said,
Dave, it said that Jason Blum wants to do 10 more Halloweens. Holy shit!
That sounds like it should be a voice of a character in a cartoon.
Exactly! You know how many people have said, I think that was very unfair. I'm being satirical to make a point. I'm not being serious.
I can totally see it as a voice of a character.
Of course, that's the whole point of it. I am a nerdy I'm a nerdy. I don't necessarily think he's making 10 more, but yeah, no, I know. So many people. There have been a lot of people that have been like, well, that's not very nice. You're making fun of us, man. I'm not making fun of you. I love you guys. Okay, let's see here. Lead Poisoning says, do you guys like Jim Carrey movies at all? Cable Guy was dark. I think Jim is from Canada.
Oh,
he absolutely is from Canada. He was born right here in Toronto.
Yeah.
And yes, Jim Carrey is a favorite of mine. I mean, he's hilarious.
Yeah, for me, I did like, okay, too many thoughts in my head at once. The original Ace Ventura, I love that. I saw it at the right age growing up.
You know what I think? Sorry, I need to say this.
And same...
I need to say this for yeah. This is what I think of every time I think of you watching Ace Ventura. You've told... Now, again, this is 1994.
Yeah.
Okay? You were watching Ace Ventura. You always tell me there's a scene in that movie where he's just sitting there, and you bursted out laughing. Yeah, he's not doing anything funny.
No, he looked ridiculous. But... He's just ridiculous. He's just sitting there, and it's like... Who the fuck sits like that?
That's
like,
a
and
great
it's just,
movie.
Yeah,
That's a fucking movie.
Yeah. The other thought that ran through my head is I had some conversation with someone recently who really found that movie offensive, and I was like,
oh fuck.
And I was like, well, sure, maybe by today's left-wing liberal standards, it could be.
Perhaps.
I'm just
Perhaps.
Whatever, man. Just take it with a grain of salt. It is what it is. Anyway, but whatever. Yeah.
Oh god.
But yeah,
he's
not like a super...
I saw a meme the other day that said something to the effect of, how did a generation that grew up with South Park and Family Guy get so fucking offended? And I'm like, yeah, that's true.
The first South Park film was hilarious.
Yes, it was. It was.
I couldn't stop laughing in the theater when I saw
that. Super chat from Patrick Thorpe. Thank you, Patrick. Donation to the channel. Appreciate it. Patrick Thorpe follows up with another super chat that says Pink Floyd or Led Zeppelin. I'm going to go Zeppelin.
I would choose Pink Floyd.
Yeah.
Pink Floyd for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Scrolling down here. Let's see if we get... Oh, let's go back a little bit, too. See if we can get some people. Let's see. People we haven't seen yet. What up? Friday Night Live from Life. Yeah, we just decided Bruce was over at my place, and we just decided to come on and just talk about whatever. Obviously, because we're movie guys, we work in movies. We're gonna probably talk about movies. We're probably not gonna talk about, I don't know,
shorts,
pants. Let's see here. Lead Poisoning says, I like the idea of a snowy Halloween as Dave did. So many new chances to explore. Yeah, I think so too. I wanted to do a short that, because I got the new mask from Chris, and I wanted to display it. Yeah. And there's so many ways. You could just take a couple of photos of it, which I did, and I posted on my social media. But I wanted to do something that was manageable, that was just me, and I had just purchased these new lights that were going to go in my studio here.
Right.
But I realized that, wow, I could use these LED lights to really give off some awesome Halloween low-key lighting kind of shit, right?
Oh, it was great.
So, and of course, you know me, I can't just display a Michael Myers mask. I have to display an epic fashion.
Right.
So I took...
Oh, it's a great way to, display it.
I took... And that's what it was. It was all about the mask. There were some people like, why is Michael just walking around? Well, it's just because it's just the mask. It's not meant to be taken seriously.
Although I would say, imagine that this is Michael's house, because where is he in the in-between times? What's Michael doing in his in-between time? This is his house.
He's killing a woman with a baby in his closet. Is that what he's doing?
He's a serial killer.
Maybe they broke in. They broke into Michael's house.
Yeah.
And she's breastfeeding her kid in the closet. He's like, bitch, get the fuck out of there. No, I don't think that's happening.
Yeah, no, but maybe he just keeps his house really dark and creepy.
No. What it was is...
that's what Michael Myers would do.
But what he said is absolutely true, is I was thinking about doing something that I wanted to be different. And we just got a dumping of snow here. Mm-hmm. And I opened my door, and I was going to start shoveling. And I thought to myself, it was a cloudy day. Mm-hmm. And I thought, this, uniform lighting, with Michael Myers in the doorway here.
Overcast day is a great day to shoot.
Oh, it would have been so great. So that's where I got the idea of actually having it a wintry Halloween, because although it very rarely snows on Halloween, it's not unprecedented. Yeah. It's not unprecedented. So I thought, well, that might be an interesting take. So I'm glad you liked it, guys. I really am. Let's see here. John Melancholy says, hey, just got off work. What's up? What's up, John? Caleb22 says, Caleb22, how long have you guys been friends? You must have just joined us not too long ago. We've been friends for 27 years. That's fucking ridiculous. Let's see here. Oh, Super Chat just came in from Aaron Keller. Thank you, Aaron. I was the Michael Myers from the premiere that Dave said was a little thin. Just wanted to ask Dave if he could please do another hate mail video. I plan on doing one, Aaron. I don't know when, but I do want to do one. Yeah, there was, when we were in line to go into the world premiere.
Okay.
Aaron was... Do you remember when there... Well, I think Aaron was the one that had the Halloween theme playing, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I remember someone.
From a ghetto kind of...
Yeah. Was that you, Aaron?
A speaker. I think it was Aaron. And
because I remember that was just as we were entering the theater.
Right, and Aaron is a very, slim guy, right? Tall, slim. I remember. So I said, oh, there's Michael Myers. He looks a little, slim. I didn't mean that, of course, any offense to that. I just meant in comparison to James Jude Courtney. Right, in comparison to James Jude Courtney.
Oh, yeah.
That's all I meant.
No, yeah.
It'd be like me being, Jason. I would expect somebody to say, guy's a little short.
Right.
Or Darth Vader, right? But yeah, that's I will do another one, but it'll be at some point. I'm not sure. Geeked Out of Turtles fan 98 says, do I see a bromance between you two? It's almost TV sitcom in the 80s worthy. Yes!
Well, we did grow up in the 80s and the 90s, so...
That's true. And when you've known someone for 27 years... And because we share the same sort of sense of humor, the same kind of personality... It shows. Yeah. Obviously. Yeah. Nelson Acosta says, Bruce and Dave, do you think we will ever see a film based on the story of Pink Floyd? Seems like there is so much there to explore. I think so eventually. It wouldn't surprise me. Maybe this Bohemian Rhapsody will start I hope it doesn't, because I think,
well, there's always
biopics
been,
are
listen, it's just a matter of time before there's one done on the Beatles. And I think we're just waiting for McCartney to die so that they have the rights to it or something.
There's
probably been some
Ringo is alive still, but I agree. Oh, here's one. I got to read this. lead poisoning. Bruce, what are your thoughts on The Last Jedi?
Are you asking me seriously?
Oh, he is. All right, here we go.
Okay, no, and that's fair. That's fair if you are asking me.
Keep it compartmentalized.
Seriously. No.
People know my thoughts.
Seriously, it's all good. So in short, The Last Jedi, I really didn't like it. I really didn't. I thought it was dog shit. I really was. And if you liked it, cool. No problem. Okay, you didn't like it. Okay, it was horrible. Yes, it was horrible. It was horrible. It was awful. Like I was saying to Dave earlier tonight, I think I will go as far as saying that the 3 prequels were better movies than The Last Jedi. Like Rian Johnson, he should never be allowed to direct a Star Wars movie or touch anything Star Wars related ever again. And I'm sorry, Ryan, but you were given creative license and just not qualified to run with it. No. Like it was just, as I said to Dave, one of the biggest things, and I'll leave it at this without going into a big rant, was that the legacy characters, Luke Skywalker, Princess Leia, etc., were not honored in their true characters of who they are. Fuck off with this Mary Poppins shit in space. Leia should have been the one to die when that ship exploded. Like, when the large ship flew into the other ship, that should have been Leia on the ship.
I've said that many times.
A captain goes down with their ship. Mm-hmm. And that's how she should have died.
And here's something, too, to keep in mind, that I don't give a fuck what Mark Hamill says. Mark Hamill knows The Last Jedi is dog shit. Because Mark Hamill spent 90% of the time bitching and complaining about his role and what happened to Luke, only then, probably ordered by his publicist or his agent, because the movie had yet come out, because it was still in post, leading up to the release of the film, and there shortly after. You know, Mark Hamill, it's what I like to call cinematic political rhetoric.
Sure.
Okay?
Yeah.
And he has to do damage. But I don't know how many fucking times you guys, I'm sure, remember this. He would bash it in his own Mark Hamill professional way. Only then, so he puts his foot in his mouth, only then to like a week, or no, like 2 days, later to tweet, well, what I actually meant was what. Right. But he kept consistently doing it. Nobody consistently, inconspicuously says The Last Jedi is dog shit, and they hated what their director did to his character. Now, he didn't come out and actually say that, but you can read between the lines. Wait. You can read between the lines of what Mark Hamill was saying, but then he would sort of do damage control, and it would be quiet for, let's say, 6 months, and then all of a sudden, Mark Hamill would be saying it again, and it's like, because it's eating him. It's eating him inside, because Luke Skywalker, look, Mark Hamill's, his claim to fame, regardless of the Joker, I know he was the voice of the Joker, and he did a great job. Yeah. But Mark Hamill's claim to fame is Luke Skywalker, and nobody can take that away from him. And he felt like Rian Johnson took that away from him.
Well, because he did.
Yeah, yes, he did. And but it's funny when I see Mark Hamill trying to sort of, it grew on me. Fuck off. It did not. He's doing damage control. That's what he's doing. I'm telling you right now, Mark Hamill thinks The Last Jedi is dog shit. And I'm telling you right now, Daisy Ridley thinks The Last Jedi is dog shit, because there is an interview with Daisy Ridley online where I believe he's Irish, he asks Daisy, you've seen it. So I saw the film. Are you happy with it? And Daisy Ridley, I should post this, literally goes like this. She literally goes, sure, let's go with that.
Sure, let's go with that.
You can bet your ass her publicist
in a multi-$100 million picture, and you're like, oh yeah, I think it's okay.
You can bet your ass that her publicist off camera was going, what are you doing?
Like the thing for me, it was like there was so much wrong with that film. So the thing I had said to Dave was,
and it has nothing to do with just 40-year-old fanboy expectations. There are specific narrative and story arc structure that is absolutely.
There's a lot of flawed issues. Okay, the first off, the fact that we have bombs falling in space. Fuck off.
Well, that didn't bother me necessarily because it didn't bother me because we have ships making sounds and exploding in space. Which
sure, but
I think there's worse things to be upset about.
Yeah, but we've come to accept that from the Star Wars universe because it happens, right? And it's been established from jump. But like, I don't know. Anyway, that was minor compared to the rest of the stuff.
Yeah.
The other issue that I had, there were so many, but it was when you look at a character like Luke, right? At this point in his development as a character, we should have seen some amazing shit.
Yes.
Like, we should have seen the evolution of the Jedi beyond anything we've ever seen. And this goes to what we talked about in the beginning of our conversation, which was like, you need to expand on the universe, develop this character, take us into that realm with the Grey Jedi. I know they wanted to step away from that. They didn't want to use those concepts.
No, they should have gone there.
But they should have. This is the problem with this is the challenge.
Jedi did need to end.
Well, this is
there needed to be an evolution of it.
And this is the challenge, right? Is that, for example, if I was hired tomorrow to direct another Star Wars movie, I would approach it like this. I would approach it like a director would approach a television series. And hear me out on this.
They're making a Star Wars television series.
Yeah, but hear me out on what I mean by this. When you create a feature film project, usually a feature film is defined very much by its visual style, its cinematic flavor, its tones. All of that is set by the cinematographer, the director, but it starts with the director's vision. And it will be unique unto that piece. When you look at a television series, you're actually looking at a style of image that is defined for the duration of all of these episodes throughout the course of the life of that series. So take a show like Star Trek. Any given episode looks like a Star Trek episode, feels like a Star Trek episode, tastes like a Star Trek episode. So now when you get into cinematic universes, like what Marvel's done, like Star Wars, like anything that has this epic saga of feature films, you need to approach it with a sensibility like you would a television series, where every feature film needs to feel, taste, and smell and be consistent. A film that belongs. It needs to have the tonal consistency, cinematography consistency, directing consistency, and above all else, the characters need to be consistent. When you watch a television series, the characters evolve over time. They face challenges and moral challenges that cause their characters to evolve and develop. The same thing happens in the cinematic universe. That's a big part of what made Marvel so successful with its cinematic universe. You look at just the character arc of Tony Stark and look at where he started compared to where he is now. And look at that evolution.
And one of the reasons why they're so successful is because they have a plan from the very beginning and it's laid out.
So, and even if you didn't have a plan laid out, like a lot of television series, they write the first half of the series because they're not sure if they're going to get funding and have the ratings to continue on. So then the second half gets written while they're shooting the first half, whatever. Right. So let's say the same thing happens with movies, just like Star Wars, right? It's like it needs to be approached like you would with the same sensibility, where you have some room for creative license and growth. And that's where I think Abrams did a great job with The Force Awakens, in the sense that he showed us images of fallen Star Destroyers crashed into the surface of the planet.
Yes.
Meanwhile, and a crashed X-Wing fighter, like the remnants of a battle, like ruins of something. And then here's this land speeder driving past, dwarfed by the whole thing.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's like,
it was a great shot.
As a director, the narrative in that one shot alone, and then to put that as like an opening shot in the trailer, oh my God. Like I was like a little child again.
It was
incredible.
Look,
and these are the things that were missed, right?
Yes, because The Force Awakens. Look, I like The Force Awakens, and there are some issues I have with it, some things I would have done a bit differently, but I think it is a very good Star Wars movie. Yeah. It did what it needed to do. It was what it needed to be because of where Star Wars was.
Yes.
Most people hated the prequels, loathed the prequels, okay? Star Wars, for all intents and purposes, was dead. So They needed to make a Star Wars movie that felt like Star Wars, that looked like the Star Wars we knew and loved, that introduced certain cinematic themes that we were familiar with, because they needed to get people back on board. Yeah. Right? They needed to do that. They could not make Rogue One first, because Rogue One first wouldn't have gotten everybody back on board. The Force Awakens became the second highest grossing movie of all time. Sorry, the third highest grossing movie of all time worldwide, and the highest grossing movie of all time domestically, and it still is that today.
Right.
So
I think it's moved down to like 4th or 5th. Avengers Infinity Wars, I think, moved up to like...
No, Avengers Infinity War.
4th?
No, it goes Avatar, Titanic, The Force Awakens, Avengers.
Okay.
But the point I'm making is that it did what it needed to do.
Yeah.
J.J. Abrams should have absolutely done the second. He should have done all three.
Yeah.
J.J. Abrams, and let me tell you this, and I'm glad I have you here because people will now know I'm not now know, but you know, I say this ad nauseum, and some people I think might not think I'm serious.
Okay.
One of the arguments that people use when I bring up J.J. Abrams is say, yeah, but J.J. Abrams was an executive producer on The Last Jedi, so he's just as much to blame. Ladies and gentlemen, what an executive producer does in major motion pictures, the spectrum of what an executive producer is
It's very
can
broad.
be heavily involved and literally now not involved at all.
Yeah.
And your name is only there because you had a story meeting one day where you offered some advice over something and you wanted to be a part of it in some sort of fashion, and you gave a critique on, well, there you go, you get a credit because that's what they want to do for you. Literally, in television, an executive producer, now known as a showrunner, is different because they are consistent by and large over the course of a series, or certainly a season, whereas directors change from episode to episode.
That's right.
So a producer in film, even though J.J. Abrams' name is attached there, it's attached there because he created the characters.
And this is what I was saying about the consistency.
He had nothing to do with the story of The Last Jedi.
To approach... Like, if I was going to approach a Star Wars film, I would approach it with the same sensibility as a TV series, where the cinematography, it has to look like a Star Wars film. Visual effects, the way that it's shot, cinematography, all of it. The characters need to be performing the actors, like the actors need to be performing the characters authentic to how those characters have always been seen and perceived, but be an evolution of. But directors change from episode to episode.
Right.
Star Wars, directors change in different episodes. We've only had a handful. But still, you will be allowed a certain spectrum of creative license, but there are certain rules about the franchise and certain rules about how the film needs to be made, how the story needs to be told, that you must remain consistent with all directors and the work that was done before you. You need to
because
honor
you
that
are
work.
the second. Look, The Last Jedi...
You can't just flip it on its head like that.
What Rian Johnson did...
That's just bullshit.
This is what they were up against. Some people thought The Force Awakens was a literal carbon copy of A New Hope. It wasn't. In the pure sense of the word, it was not. Were there certain things that were similar and that there were parallels? Yes. But it literally is not a copy of A New Hope. But because there was some of that out there in the pop culture consciousness, I believe that Rian Johnson did everything humanly possible to create a movie that was nowhere near, in any shape or form, similar to The Empire Strikes Back. Here's the problem.
No, it wasn't.
Here's the problem. But here's the problem in that.
And it shouldn't have been.
No, it shouldn't have been, but here's the problem. It should have been similar in theme. And what I mean by that is that Star Wars, what you were telling, is a 3-act play.
Right.
The second act is always the darkest for our protagonists.
Yeah.
It is the third act where the redemption happens.
Yeah.
The second act, which is The Last Jedi, doesn't feel like a second act at all.
No.
It doesn't end with on any down note. It doesn't end on the decisions and the arcs that the characters were going through made no sense. There was nothing happening in the second act. This is a play. And Rian Johnson, J.J. Abrams set it up, and there were many things. We still don't know how the lightsaber got to Maz. We don't know about the Knights of Ren. When J.J. Abrams had Luke Skywalker, look at the end of The Force Awakens and look at his face Look, when he turns around and you see
Yeah,
his face.
it was a great moment.
It's pain. So he's feeling something. There's
Yes.
something he's feeling.
Yes.
Is it the death of Han Solo? Maybe.
Right.
Is it the fact that he's abandoned, his friends? Maybe. Is it the fact that he wants to take a big shit? I don't know. But the fact of the matter is, he feels something. There's something there. You fast forward to The Last Jedi, and it's gone. And he takes it and he tosses it over his shoulder.
Yeah, and that was all just bullshit.
Ryan Johnson wanted to make a movie. What he set out to do was he set out to make a movie that was turned on its head deliberately because he was up against expectations. And he felt that he wanted to make a story that nobody had seen that was avant-garde for the sake of being avant-garde, which simply means
you don't do that.
You
with the Star
don't
Wars
do that,
film.
and you don't do it in a second act.
No. And
It's
if
like
you
me
want to make
saying
an
to you-
avant-garde film, go make a completely different movie.
Go make Looper.
Like, fuck off.
Because here's the thing. It's like you saying to me, once upon a time there was an older lady who sat down on a park bench and she was feeding the pigeons.
Okay.
And then you hand it off to me. And what do? No, it wasn't an old lady. It was a young child. And it wasn't a park bench. It was a hockey arena. And it wasn't pigeons. It was fucking... That's what happened.
Yeah.
That's what happened. And you don't do that because you're trying to have some consistent... Because there's an overall arc.
Yeah.
I think J.J. Abrams... Look, I can tell you right now... The fact that he's playing the cinematic political rhetoric game, which is, I thought the script was good, and I support the. I can guarantee you, he went home to his wife or his friends, and he's having a conversation like this, going, "What the fuck did they do? What the hell?" And one of the reasons why he came back, and one of the reasons why they asked him to come back, is because he wanted to deliver. He wanted to finish what he started, and
This is Star Wars.
He wanted to finish what he started, and I have a feeling that Episode 9 will be full of. I hope it's its own thing, but I have no doubt that JJ came back to right the wrong, regardless of whatever the fuck he says.
I will not be surprised if it becomes Episode 9 and 10.
Apparently, it's not, but I think they need that personally.
Right.
All right. Sorry for all that. As you can see, it's a hot button topic for us. We can go on. Let's get to some quick super chats here from you fine people. Patrick Thorpe says, "Shine on your crazy diamond." Not sure what that means, but thank you.
Rihanna.
Oh, shine on... Okay, yeah, I get it. Okay. BMT115 says, "It hurts to see some of my childhood heroes like Mark Hamill be gutted and sorry, the mic's in the way.
Puppated around by Disney.
Puppated, yeah. Puppated
like a
around...
puppet.
Oh, yeah. Puppeted around by Disney. Walt is turning in his grave. I don't think Walt's turning in his grave, but I will say that Mark Hamill is playing, as I said, the cinematic political rhetoric game. Oh, sorry about that, guys. He's playing the cinematic political rhetoric game, and when you get to that level and you're working at that level, you have to. You got to play the game. Yeah. But I can guarantee, is he happy? No matter how many times he comes out and says, "Well, actually, no, what I meant was," and it's kind of growing on me. Fuck off, Mark. You're lying to yourself. You know you are. Nathan Oswald said, "Thank you, Nathan. Which was written worse, Rob Zombie's Halloween or The Last Jedi?" The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
Last Jedi.
Yeah.
Because Rob Zombie's Halloween is a version of Halloween I don't like. I'm not a fan of his stuff.
But it's still a horror movie.
It's still a horror movie.
It's still true to the genre.
And he's making it, and it's the first movie. You see, it's the first movie, right? He's beginning a new incarnation. Yeah. Okay, if Ryan Johnson wants to do his avant-garde shit from the very beginning, that's fine, because I may not like it, but at least you've set the foundation. Okay? Ryan Johnson can't go in and then just take the foundation and go, "Well, let's be different." Anyway, fuck that. We can keep going here. Let's see here. Robert Nickerson says, "I absolutely love Halloween films, but I would be very interested to see Dave make some YouTube short films that are original concepts. You guys should team up more."
We've been talking about doing that,
Definitely.
actually. There's a couple of script ideas that we have sort of simmering in the background that we've sort of thrown some ideas around.
And I have a major feature that I am in development on. It's been in development hell, but it's a... some of you may already know, I've sort of casually mentioned it from time to time, but there's a script that I've written that has been going through many drafts and polishing that I hope to, in the very near future, actually turn that into a major film, and it's a mystery thriller drama, I would say, that deals with the paranormal, and I think it's kind of fun. But that's a major feature. That's not a short that you can do in a weekend and post it to your YouTube channel. Like, that's like legitimate shit that you guys will be able to go see in festivals and stuff.
Yeah, so we'll take a look at like other.
Yeah, no, we definitely want to.
Because we've wanted to do something original for some
The
time.
reason why we always fall back on Halloween is because Bruce and I are so busy with our shit that we're doing that sometimes it's nice. It's already there, and it's right there. And sometimes it's nice to shoot something, make it a bit different, like we did with Haddonfield Reaper.
Yeah.
Make it really cool at the same time, and it gets us making something. It keeps the creative juices flowing.
Yeah.
Whereas to think of something original and plan it out and cast it and do all that just takes a little more time.
Yeah.
So, but no, we definitely there's many ideas we have, and horror is always a fallback because it's the easiest thing to do and always so much fun. But let's see here. David King says, Dave, who is your pick for the Stanley Cup final and who will win? Not my Buffalo Sabres. Bum, 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 bum. I would say the Stanley Cup final. I'm gonna go. From the East. I'm going the Islanders. I know that sounds crazy. I would like it to be the Leafs, but I think the Islanders, I don't know, they're pretty good. I think they're going to sneak in there.
Yeah,
I don't think they'll win, but I don't
know.
Let's see here. Dave, The Last Jedi or Halloween 5? Well, again, you know what? I'm probably going to say Halloween 5. And the reason, and that's going to shock a lot of you, but the reason why is because, look, Halloween 5 is a fucking shit show. It's a fucking shit show. But there's more redeeming qualities in Halloween 5, not much more, than The Last Jedi.
Wow.
And but look, here's a perfect example. When you say The Last Jedi or Halloween 5, it's like saying, do you want a shit pie or do you want a slice of shit pie? Listen, at the end of the day, no. Do you want a shit pie or do you want 3/4 of a shit pie?
Right.
Look, at the end of the day, it's still shit.
Still shit.
You're still eating shit. Why is it like to say this, The Last Jedi or Halloween 5? Halloween 5. Oh, Dave likes Halloween 5. No. It means that it's the less shit. I'm getting one slice less, but it's still shit. You're still eating shit. It's still shit. It's less shit, but it's still shit. I got to make a video about that. David Newton, Super Chat. Thank you, David. Hey, folks. David Newton. Comic book movies, biopics, evidently on the horizon. What other fads do you foresee happening? Fads do I see happening?
Well, I know there's going to be another 4 Avatar movies and probably another 2 Alita films.
No, two Avatar films right now. And if they're successful, they'll do the other 2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought they were shooting all 4 at the same time.
Well, they were going to, but then it was like, let's put on the brakes.
That's huge.
That's fucking huge.
That's huge.
But you know what? I'm telling you right now, I'm somebody that really liked Avatar. And I got to tell you that James Cameron, I hear he's a fucking dick to work with. I hear James Cameron is a dick to work with.
I think there's 2 parts to it, right? The other thing I've heard is that he knows the jobs of a lot of the crew members and a lot of the technicians that work on set. So therefore, because he knows the job, he's also a visionary. Mm-hmm. He's one of those people that brings a specific vision to the table. Too often there can be film creators who don't have enough vision. And they're more followers than leaders. And I get the impression that James is what's it called? Like he's a leader in that capacity. So he holds his people to a very high standard.
He does.
But to a point that he may forget that they're human beings.
Yeah.
So
and he's very particular, and in a lot of cases,
which is fair. Like,
it's not
listen,
what you say; it's how you say.
Yeah, but
right?
yeah, and that's it. Like, you can still be very particular. Like, I think about the Wachowski siblings when they put together The Matrix. That thing was storyboarded out like a comic book before they even went to camera.
Right.
And it was a masterpiece work of art. And they shot that, shot for shot, according to the storyboards. Right. They were just as particular. But I never heard stories like that coming out of that experience.
Right.
But yeah, I can see how See, that's the thing, right? Like some folks are like real laid back and they just kind of want to do whatever. You know, but it's we're seeing some of the Avatar comments, but it's you know.
No, I'm actually laughing at Jim Dorsey's The Last Jedi or Judy Greer in Halloween 2018. Judy Greer played Laurie's daughter.
Yeah.
And you know,
I'm gonna say Judy Greer, 100%. Listen. The last no. Wait. No.
Do you mean what's worse?
The Last Starfighter or The Last Jedi? Like The Last Starfighter, like, okay, I loved it as a childhood classic.
It's dated.
It is.
It's directed by Nick Castle.
You go back and you watch it.
It's directed by Nick Castle, yeah.
The Last Starfighter, hands down. Hands down.
Well, of course, because it's dated. But you could.
It was a childhood favorite of mine.
But Judy Greer.
Judy Greer all the way.
She was she was just. I like her as an actress, and she's kind of cute, you know, but there was so many I hated the scene. I've seen the movie 3 times. I hate when she comes out of the restaurant and now here's the moment. It's like, oh, here's the moment. We're gonna have a montage where Karen tells her daughter finally about her life growing up. Like her daughter's 17 years old, and she takes this moment to go. It's like she was reading off a teleprompter, and it was so wooden and choppy, and I just hated it. And
listen, I would prefer that over Luke Skywalker drinking breast milk.
Okay, so you prefer
over
that.
From some weird alien creature on an island.
Okay, so not to let people
like I would prefer anything in Halloween 2018 over anything in the
Okay, so that's
Jedi.
Because he might have meant what do you hate more, The Last Jedi or Judy Greer? That's what he may have meant.
Oh, I meant I hate The Last Jedi more.
Okay,
that's what I meant. Yeah.
So we just want to.
Sorry if I misinterpreted.
And make sure. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
Let's see here. What do we got? Verisimilitude back again says he might be a prick to work with, but man, does he make fun?
Look. But that's the thing, though, is some people say
talent is not. Look. Talent is not indicative of one's personality. I mean, Stanley Kubrick was exceptionally detailed, exceptionally picky. The layers to his movie are just.
But he did a lot of reshoots and a lot of reshoots
and takes. And
but
he
somebody
was very particular.
But this is the thing, is because, you know, having never met James Cameron, again, he could be the type of individual that is brilliant, absolutely brilliant. 100%. When I can understand, I can put myself in the headspace to kind of go, okay, if you're a super visionary where you know everyone's job that's working with you on this show.
Yeah.
You immediately can identify if they're not performing to the capacity that you need them to.
Right.
So, yes, there's something to be said for tact.
Because
you got to remember that people are human beings,
yes.
and you got to treat them with respect. Yeah. They're human beings. But there's nothing wrong with pushing people to higher standards, because when you push people out of their comfort zones with higher standards, that's where you get better performances delivered, you get a better product, and you're always pushing the envelope, right? And he's known for doing that. So, you know, I don't know if it's a matter of some people just hate working with him because he's truly an asshole, or people don't like working with him because he pushes them out of their comfort zone.
I think it's somewhere in the middle.
And it could be.
And I think people, but, you know... Again, I know it's
a bit of both, and maybe he's learned, and maybe he has gotten better, and he's like, I can't really be treating people like that anymore, and I know it's
improve. I know it's the popular thing to hate on Avatar, but I will say I enjoyed the hell out of the movie. I thought it was a experience, and it's nice to be able to go to the movies and actually have that kind of an experience, because we rarely have that kind of thing anymore. I often say on this channel that, you know, we remember a time when, and a lot of you guys probably do too, when, you know, there was not, like, now we are inundated with blockbusters. There's a blockbuster being released, sometimes two, like every week.
Right.
Where there was a time when a blockbuster was an event. Like going to the movie, like Jurassic Park, like that was exciting. And how we hear about these movies and how we consume our media and our entertainment is so different now that we're so desensitized to it. Where when I went to see Avatar, you know, it was like, this is what it was like, you know, when that one movie came out, I'm not saying there were only one blockbusters in them, but usually there was one, maybe 2 or 3 movies in a year that was the movie to go and see.
Yeah.
Where now it's like there's probably 2 or 3 in May. There's a couple in June, I'm sure. There's about 4 in July. There's one coming out in a couple of weeks, Captain Marvel. I mean, it's like they're all over the place. Like multi-million-dollar movies that make billions of dollars are like, it's everywhere. So we're so desensitized to it now. The last movie that I remember that was that experience, that hype, that excitement for me, a lot of you guys, including yourself, might have been Infinity War and certainly Endgame. But for me, it was The Force Awakens because I'm not a big superhero guy.
I'm super stoked for Endgame.
But it's that kind of thing where that kind of thing that you're feeling, we feel like so often now. Yeah. Whereas before it was like once in a blue moon.
Well, it's because of the epicness of it. It's like now we're seeing the conclusion of this 10-year story.
Yes, exactly.
Right?
So I will say this. When it comes to James Cameron, say what you want, but the dude...
He delivers.
You think of Aliens, you think of The Abyss, Terminator 2, True Lies, Titanic, Avatar. I don't even fucking think he's had a bad movie.
So this is the thing, right? Is regardless of personality, he is a filmmaker. He truly is a visionary, and it's very clear that he is articulate. He brings forward that vision. He's got a passion for it, conviction for it, and if you're not on board, that's where there's going to be friction.
Well, people have to understand.
I respect that. Like just to say, I respect that of an individual when you've got clear vision, because everybody else who's working on the project is going to have that clear vision and that sense of the direction you're going. And you need that. Like we said earlier in the conversation, it's a collaborative effort.
Yeah.
And if there's ambiguous leadership at the top, it creates nothing but confusion and issues.
Oh, sure. But
the more clarity you're getting, the better it's going to be.
The thing when it comes to James Cameron is people all... they have to remember too that, like you said, he's a visionary, but he gets himself involved in the technology aspect. They make the technology that the cameras and the lenses that were used on Avatar were made for that movie.
Yes,
like and it's happening again for the new Avatar because
it's becoming
because
a thing
they're
now.
Shooting under but he's one of the few guys that does that.
Yes.
Now others will take what he's done and then use it for their shit.
Yes.
But before James Cameron's Avatar, what he used on Avatar ceased to exist.
And that's the difference between him and other individuals, is that you have a guy who designs a torpedo-shaped submarine.
Yeah.
And explores the Marianas Trench.
Yeah.
And then ends up making,
exactly.
Alita Battle Angel. Like with Robert
Let's see if
Rodriguez.
we can just get through these super chats here pretty quickly. Mustack Review says, "Hey Dave, how's it going, mate? It's Mustafa. That's right, Mustafa. Did we meet Mustafa? We might have. Refresh my memory. Grave Warmer says, anything you'd like to see play out in ST Season 3?
Oh, Stranger Things Season 3. I'm very excited for that.
I just finished watching the first season with Leah. Leah hadn't seen it, so we just finished watching it.
I love it.
I love the first season. I like the first season better than the second season. Anything I want to see? Okay, I'll keep this quick. I found the second season to be a little repetitive. I would like to see them not do a complete 180 that changes the fundamental foundation of the story and doing things that aren't true. But I want to see something that sort of, because here's the thing we have to remember, okay? Season 1 of Stranger Things takes place in the fall of 1983.
Yeah.
Season 2 takes place in the fall of 1984. Season 3 will now take place in the summer of 1985.
Okay.
So if you think about that in terms of a timeline, everything that happened in Season 1, think about this. Everything that happened in Season 1, everything that happened in Season 2, and everything that's about to happen in Season 3 all happens in 18 months. Are you fucking kidding me?
Well, it's like the show 24.
No, I know.
But
I'm just saying, so in my mind I'm thinking, if this was happening, don't you think people in Hawkins would start to move out of the fucking town? It's like, what the fuck is going on? All I'm saying is that I want to see... my favorite episode of Season 2 is usually everybody's least favorite. And I think it's episode 7, I think. The one where Eleven goes on that little excursion off, and she meets, her, the other people that have powers like her, and they have this. Now, most people don't like it because it is an episode that kind of takes you away from Hawkins, and it does feel kind of like, oh, I'm not used to this. Like, I thought this was, but I like it because it opened things up a little bit
it was necessary.
to the potentiality of what's kind of going on out there. And I like that episode.
They have to expand it beyond just the core group in order to keep it.
Because if you don't, you're just doing the same thing over again.
Yeah.
And season 2, there was a bit of that there. There was a bit of repetitiveness. So I'm hoping in season 3 that you have to stay true to the characters. It takes place in Hawkins. I understand that. We're going to have some upside down and some weird dimension shit, sure. Mm-hmm. But let's move away from Will.
Well, because
if it's all about Will again,
yeah,
it's going to feel like, I've seen this. Like, I want to see something a bit different.
I think what would be nice, I don't know if any of you saw the show Dark on Netflix. I believe it's German, subtitled in English. Really great show. I forget how many seasons there are, but it deals with a lot of concepts about quantum entanglement and like if any of you follow, and I'm not trying to get all like heady here with all this shit, but it's anyway, it's a cool show. Sort of deals with time travel concepts and quantum physics.
Cool.
Some of what they do in that show, I think, could be cool if they bring that into Stranger Things. Cool. Some of the concepts.
Okay. Mustack Review says, Michael returned in 2018. Chucky 2019.
Yeah.
Which slasher icon could or will we see return in 2020 to the big screen? Love from Australia.
Cool.
Let's see here. Well, you guys know me. I don't particularly... What I think they'll do isn't necessarily an endorsement for what I think they should do. It all depends on how successful the new Child's Play movie is going to be. I actually like that they're rebooting Child's Play. My only concern with this is that we seem to be in this era of Stranger Things. So you have Stranger Things, which is all about kids in the 80s. That began it. Mm-hmm. Then the It movie. Okay, granted, it took place in the late 80s, I understand that, but it did have that Goonies,
and there's been talks
Stranger
for years
Things vibe,
about redoing it.
But sure. So, to be fair, it's good to preface that, okay? Mm-hmm. But then you had a Canadian film shot in Vancouver called The Summer of '84, which is a horror movie which was really good. Yeah. Not as good as Stranger Things, but it all about these kids, and there's a murder that, all this kind of stuff. And the new Ghostbusters movie that that his son Jason is doing, is now, there's word that they're thinking of casting, I forget his name now, the Canadian kid that plays Mikey in Stranger Things, Wolf something or whatever his name is. They're thinking about, because the new Ghostbusters film, even though it's going to be an official sequel to the original 1989 sequel, what they're doing is they want to cast a younger sort of thing. It's going to be maybe a passing of the torch, whether or not Dan Aykroyd or Bill Murray is going to be in it, we're not sure yet. But if you think about it, Ghostbusters, teenage Ghostbusters, this new Child's Play film is, we got the kid, his friends. Yeah. It seems like there's this thing they're doing.
A trend.
But the problem is, though, it works with, I'm not saying it's not going to work with Child's Play. I'm not saying it's not going to work with Ghostbusters, perhaps. But this is why it works so well with Stranger Things and It. And The Summer of '84. Mm-hmm. What do those three movies all have in common?
Well, they were all from the 80s.
From the 80s. Exactly.
Yeah.
And the thing is that in the 80s, riding your bikes, getting into shenanigans, the nostalgia, that does happen in the 80s. We did that. Yeah. We rode our bikes in the 80s, and we rode around. We were outside after school. We weren't on phones. We weren't on computers. They did not, they existed, obviously.
Yeah, but they weren't commonplace.
On that stuff. So that Goonies kind of banding together, what makes that sort of, is because it's the 80s. And Stranger Things, although you could do a modern version of it, that the kids don't do what the kids are doing in those things. Yeah, right? They're not doing that. It's a different dynamic. It's a different culture. It's a different pop culture. So to bring the Stranger Things vibe of the kids banding together and doing stuff doesn't necessarily work in a film set today. Because kids today, not that... Again, nuance, people. Not that kids don't do it at all, but most kids are not coming home after school and see ya mom, see ya dad, going out with their buddies, riding their bikes and getting into shit because they think their next door neighbor is creepy. It doesn't happen now. It did then because we had to entertain ourselves. Now there's phones and social media and all sorts of shit that kids are into. That's why I'm like, so we have a Stranger Things vibe and a new Ghostbusters movie. It might work with that because it's Ghostbusters and you can utilize the content. But Child's Play, I'm happy they're remaking Child's Play. Chucky is no longer going to be a possessed doll. It's going to be a lot of AI and shit. And I'm happy that they're remaking it.
I didn't know that part.
I'm happy they're remaking it, but I'm skeptical on the execution with the kids. I'm interested to see how it's going to work. My worry is that everybody's going to start, hey, let's get kids in here and have them banding together. And it's kind of like, it works.
Well, I think, you know what I think is that, again, it boils down to a lot of the marketing. When you look at the trends of the subject matter of a lot of films, you look at things like Transformers and you look at... I'm not thinking of other topics, but anyway, there's a whole bunch of films that have been made recently over the last decade that appeal to those that were in their 30s, 40s, you know, that kind of time frame, because they were the kids that grew up watching these cartoons, partaking in these comic books and all of that stuff as kids.
They're definitely capitalizing on the nostalgia train.
Right. So now if you look at it, they're still appealing to that demographic. But there's an element of the children being introduced as the characters, as the main characters, because now you've got them as a relatable entry point for the children of those people.
That's true.
So now it's targeting two demographics at the same time.
I'll use a word from one of our guys. The verisimilitude has to be believable. Because if these kids are not doing things that kids today would do, then I have to, I mean, I don't want to see kids, not that I don't want to see it,
right?
But the probability factor of like I still have to believe that the behavior of these kids are legitimate.
Right, but Stranger Things, I would say by definition is a period piece.
Yes, it is. But it works because that's what kids were doing in the 80s.
Yeah. So you have the behaviors of the characters doing what exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
So my concern is that gimmick doesn't necessarily translate well into today, the Stranger Things kind of, because you'll have to rely so heavily on the sensationalism around that, because
but it's not enough to sensationalize.
I know, but I'm just saying
like
that's my worry. No. But that's my worry, is that it's the relationship between the kids that people fall in love with. And in the 80s, that's what you were doing. You had to spend time developing those types of relationships and friendships. There's a reason why our friendship has lasted 27 years.
Right.
Is because of the relationship dynamics that were happening in and around that time. You fast forward today, it's not that kids today won't have a friendship that'll last a lifetime, but it's a different type of environment that kids are in now, and they're not necessarily out riding their bikes in environments where they can develop that kind of a relationship, is what I'm saying.
Right.
So I just get worried that if you shoehorn in the Stranger Things vibe into a Child's Play movie or a Ghostbusters film, it may not seem organic. That's not to say it's not going to work. I'm just saying those are things I think about. That's all I'm saying. Oh, and by the way, to answer your question, probably I'd probably say 2020. I think they're going to work really hard to try and get Freddy and Jason, but I don't think it's going to be for 2020. I'll just say that. That's to answer your question. You see, you get us going off like a tangent. Must Tack Reviews follows up with sadly not. However, I texted you the other day, mate, thanking you for all your hard work. It truly means a lot to me and hope we can meet one day. Texted me. Do you mean sent me a Facebook message? Because you didn't text me. That's probably what you mean. Let's see here. Kills4748 says, "Hey Dave and Bruce, now that there's a trailer for the new re-envision of the Twilight Zone, what are your thoughts of it?" I'm cautiously optimistic.
I'm excited for it because I love the Twilight Zone, and I used to watch the Twilight Zone, and I used to watch, what's the other one? I think
Alfred Hitchcock Presents.
Yeah, I saw
Unsolved
some episodes
Mysteries?
from that.
Unsolved Mysteries.
I watched that too.
Outer Limits.
Outer Limits, that's what it was. Outer Limits, because it was more like a Twilight Zone kind of thing, but more sci-fi kind of twist to it.
Yes.
So I'm excited for it. I'm very excited to see.
I am too.
see where
cautiously optimistic,
see what happens.
But I'm definitely excited.
Yeah.
The Festival of Atonement says, your last video portrayed snow like a gimmick. It didn't mean anything. It had zero impact. Oh, yes, the Festival of Atonement. I remember, I think I saw your comment. Well, again, the point of the video was to display the mask in different environments under atmospheric lighting. But in order to actually make it interesting to watch, I added a sort of hypothetical subplot where Michael is in this environment where he hears a baby and he walks into this room and, but the whole setting is the setting of it being a wintry setting, although the rest of the movie takes place indoors, is because I'm setting a tone. I'm setting a mood, right? So the shot of the house with the snow is called an establishing shot. So you know where we are. Okay, it's snowy, it's wintry, but I didn't want people to get the impression that it was Christmas or it was December, because that's not Michael's MO. Right? So I had, at the very beginning, this radio come on where this DJ said, well, it looks like Mother Nature is playing a trick on us. She has a great sense of humor. It's Halloween, but it looks more like December the 25th out there. So oh, it's still Halloween, but there's this unexpected snowstorm, which I thought was kind of a nice sort of addition. Mm-hmm. And so what happens is that you, not necessarily you, obviously, but most people, what the point of that is that we have the establishing shot of the house and the snow, so it feels cold, and I tinted it very sort of this bluish cold feel. So you as the viewer, now you're like, oh, okay, we got this cold
I wanted
kind of
some hot chocolate.
Right?
I was
exactly. And then the very next shot is inside, and the door opens, and it's me as the shape. But the day I actually shot this, it was obviously snowing, right? So I captured the snowflakes around me as I'm there in this blue light. So now there's this cold sort of environment as Michael walks in. It's to set the mood and the overall tone of the 6-minute piece. It's not, I could have, I guess, if I had more time and I had a bigger budget, I could have hired an actor and I could have played up the idea that the lights go out and it's snowing and the woman has to go outside and retrieve something and now you feel the coldness as she's outside. Could have done that, but that wasn't the point of the sort of the exercise, so to speak. It was just to add a bit of context to the environment. So as you're watching, you're feeling this woman is trapped inside this house during a snowstorm. Oh my God, can you imagine? And the boogeyman is there. That's all it was. So hopefully that can add some context for you. It wasn't meant to have any sort of integral impact of the overall piece. So hopefully that I've been able to add some context. Let's see here. Matthew Jensen, can we all agree Attack of the Killer Tomatoes and its sequel, Return of the Killer Tomatoes, are the greatest movie franchises of all time?
I loved those movies. I thought they were hilarious.
I haven't seen them in years.
I haven't seen them in years either. Like, I probably haven't seen them since my childhood.
Yeah,
and I liked them. I loved them when I saw them.
Woken Brilliance. I love that word. Hey, Dave. Love your videos. Really enjoyed watching Halloween 2018 alongside with your commentary. Thank you. I appreciate that. Nice. Lead Poisoning. Dave, the idea was great with the snow. So many things can happen in that situation. Exactly. It's all about the potential. It's all about, because it's a 6-minute piece, it's almost like a concept in
it was 6
some
minutes?
ways. Yeah.
It didn't feel like 6 minutes.
It's the kind of thing where, again, it's that here's the setting. Imagine this in this setting, and you watch it and you go, oh my God, that'd be devastating, right? If I had more time and a budget and a cast, I could have played into that more and maybe utilized the setting a bit more, kind of like what they did in The Shining.
Right.
If I had that budget. But it was also a spur of the moment sort of thing that I wanted to do for you guys. So, yeah. Let's see here. Brandon Treat says, Bruce and Dave, what film franchise do you think deserves a 4K release? Friday the 13th franchise, the Saw franchise, Child's Play franchise, and Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. Good night, Dave, and Bruce, good night. Out of those that you mentioned, I would probably say Elm Street.
Yeah.
Saw doesn't deserve shit. The first Saw is great. The rest I just don't give a fuck about.
Yeah, the first Saw was great. I actually only ever saw the first and the second one.
I think I saw the first 3.
Yeah.
And I just don't give a fuck about the rest.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see here. Arsenal Arrow says, "Where's the goddamn sequel concept?" Well, if you're going to ask like that, fuck you too. No. I'm doing a concept video where I talk about my idea for a sequel to Halloween 2018.
Oh, so that's what the person's referencing.
And it's definitely
Arsenal.
coming, but
okay.
These things take time because I'm fleshing out everything and writing everything down.
Okay.
But it is coming. Don't worry. It will come. You will eventually see it. Good things come to those who wait. Patience, as Yoda would say. Nathan Oswald says, I love Saw 5 and 6. Well, that's great that you do. I'm sure they're happy that you do. Eric Simon says, thoughts on the Exorcist remake or a reboot sequel with Linda Blair as a protagonist trying to help a possession? Why the fuck not? I don't think they need a sequel, but since we're in the era of sequels, The Exorcist would be, although they did do a sequel to Halloween, but that's primarily because they fucked up the franchise so bad. It's like a choose your own adventure. The Exorcist is one of those movies that, regardless of whether you like it or hate it, it's entered the pop culture lexicon as an iconic horror film. So now it does have sequels. There's an Exorcist 2 and 3, and I think there might even be a 4, which pale in comparison. But that first movie is so iconic and so revered as one of the greatest horror movies of all time that to give it the Halloween treatment, pretend 2, 3, and 4 didn't happen, do a direct sequel to that movie sounds interesting, especially if Linda Blair, the one who played the girl in the movie, is interested in coming back. If I was a producer,
we've seen too many movies like that.
If I was a producer, I would be interested in hearing the pitch.
Yeah,
that would be where I would be at. Because I understand that we are in the nostalgia era. I understand that a movie like that could do very well at the box office primarily because of that. That's something people have to remember, that Halloween 2018 did enormous at the box office, $254 million worldwide.
That's huge for a horror film.
It is. But it primarily did that not because some people thought it was a good movie. Some people think it's the best since the original. That's fine. That's not why it did well. It did well because it had the nostalgia train. It did well because it was the first Halloween movie in 30 years to actually be released in the month of October.
Right.
You had Jamie Lee Curtis, John Carpenter, Nick Castle.
Yeah, they got it right. They offered all the right.
It was going to make enough
pieces.
money. Sorry. It was going to make a lot of money regardless of whether it was good or not, primarily because of that. But The Exorcist, I don't think it's needed, but definitely if you were going to do one, now's the time to talk about it. Nathan Oswald, thank you, Nathan. Who was hotter in their prime, Pat Benatar or Joan Jett? I don't know. That's a good question. I have no idea. I would say Joan Jett. I don't fucking know. Let's see here. Okay, we'll go for another 10 minutes?
Take a few more? Yeah.
10 minutes? Let's go another 10 minutes. We'll go another 10 minutes and we'll call it a night.
Off. Yeah.
Okay, let's see here. Patrick Thorpe says, was that establishing shot an homage to Black Christmas? I may be reaching here. No, it wasn't, but certainly that's not a bad... I like where you're thinking.
Yeah.
I like that. Anytime anybody can compare something I've done to Black Christmas, I'm in good company. Let's see here. Matthew Jensen says, how would you feel about a reboot of the Sleepaway Camp series?
I'm not familiar with that one.
Listen, I think Sleepaway Camp, the first one, is primarily iconic because of its ending. I won't, give it away, but it's a oh fuck kind of ending. I think the quality and the production value is really cheesier than most of the Friday the 13th films. It's a B. If Friday the 13th is a B horror movie, which essentially it is, then Sleepaway Camps are like D horror movies.
Right.
Not that they're not good, and not that they're not like good in that cheesy kind of fun way, but to remake Sleepaway Camp now, you would almost have to remake it in a very serious sort of way to be able to get the numbers.
You have to step it up to A level.
Yeah, and that would be changing sort of the fundamental fabric of what the films were. So I don't know if it would work today.
Well, I think what I might like to see remade is Don't Go Into the Woods.
Oh fuck! I did a video on my channel with that.
You did?
I did a video on my channel where I talked about the two because there's a lot of them. 2 of the worst horror movies I've ever seen, and one was Don't Go Into the Woods.
Like that, they would have to come out. Like that would have to be like legit hardcore, like something just like
that's
ridiculously
what I mean.
insane.
Don't Go Into the Woods was a one-off, a knockoff, like D horror movie that some people remember, some people forget. You could remake that movie and make it iconic, and
nobody would remember.
Serious, because nobody would remember. Sleepaway Camp is one of those iconic D horror movies that everybody remembers. You make it, can't do that. The other one that I talked about was Motorhome Massacre, which was fucking atrocious. It's the one where the guy is driving this Winnebago, a motorhome, and he's driving, and the camera angle, it's supposed to be at night, but they've just put black curtains on the windows, and one of the black curtains is down a bit, and you can see a tree branch. The tree is stationary, and the guy's going... It is so fucking bad. Oh my God. It's horrible.
That's hilarious.
It's horrible.
That's
hilarious. Jesus. Motorhome Massacre is just... And it's like they're scenes that are supposed to take place at night, but they just put like the night filter on their video camera or something, so it's like that dark blue.
I remember the night filter.
Oh, it's awful.
I remember the night filter on
it's
camcorders.
Fucking awful. It's a fucking awful film.
Yeah. There's a difference between that and...
The real James Grimm. James Grimm. James is somebody I did run into at the Halloween 40th anniversary convention, I believe. At least I think I've got the right guy. Dave, thoughts on Phantasm? Personally, love the first two films. Angus, Scrim is just awesome. I have only seen the first Phantasm. I haven't seen the second one. I haven't seen it in years.
Phantasm.
Yeah. Let's see here. The Film Addict says, thoughts on Big Trouble in Little China. Also, which Carpenter score is your favorite besides Halloween? I watched Big Trouble in Little China, Kurt Russell, directed by John Carpenter, for the first time only about 2 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
And it is...
There's been a few movies like that for me where...
It's a fun movie. It's fun, a little dated, but it's so wacky and ridiculous. And that was the movie, along with The Thing, but more that movie.
Right.
That was the movie, because that was a big studio release. That was the movie that sort of, in my opinion, sealed the deal for John Carpenter's disgruntled distaste for the studio system, and which is why he eventually because I believe They Live and Prince of Darkness and In the Mouth of Madness and Village of the Damned, which were all films that he made after that, were independent films. They got...
I didn't know that.
They obviously got... distribution, but they didn't have the backing of like a Universal or a Paramount or anything like that. Right. Yeah,
I remember Village of the Damned, and I thought it was all right.
I thought it was all right too.
If I'm not mistaken, Mark Hamill was in that, wasn't he?
Yes, he was.
He was the
teacher.
priest.
He was a priest.
He was the priest. Okay.
And In the Mouth of Madness was shot up here in the Toronto area, because that big ethereal Gothic-looking church at the end of the movie is that big one you see on the 404 driving through Markham. Oh. You know that big... Yeah, that's that one. Yeah. It was shot up here. In the Mouth of... And I think Village of the Damned was shot up here, too. They shoot a ton of shit here. John Carpenter likes to shoot up here.
They shoot a lot of stuff up here. There's good tax credits up here. That's why everybody comes here.
Well, and especially in TO. I mean, it's the third largest...
Well, that's the thing, right? We have the infrastructure, we have the crews, we have the special effects and editing houses, we have the equipment. The infrastructure's there in Canada. So it's true. Anything that you want to do in the States, you're able to do here.
And
if you want to go super big and specialized, like a James Cameron film, that kind of technology is starting to be introduced into Canada.
Well, we have one of
you really have to go into certain areas of the world, because
Pinewood. Well,
only certain areas of the world have that kind of.
Weta is in New Zealand.
Yeah.
Pinewood, Toronto, I believe, is the largest. It's the largest production studio. I think it was the largest in North America.
Yeah, the mega stage.
Yes. Yeah. Is it still?
I want to say yes, but I could be wrong. I'd have to look that up. I'd have to look that up.
They should have a ton of shit here.
Yeah, I'd have to look that up.
Okay.
So basically, for folks that don't know, the studios, so Pinewood is one of the world's most well-known studio organizations. Yeah. So they have studios here in Toronto, and the largest of them is called the Megastage. And
it's great shit.
It's boasted that you could build a full-sized what's the term, like a full replica, but like build it to scale, right? Would that be the right?
Yes. Didn't they say was it the Titanic, or what did they say?
No, the Pantheon.
Oh,
or Pantheon,
yes,
whatever. I forget. Sorry, my Greek mythology is a bit off.
Yes.
It's either the Pantheon or Pantheon. Anyway,
Yeah.
you guys understand what I mean. That building, you could build it to scale inside and still have clearance to hang all of your lighting fixtures and move a crew around the exterior of it.
Fucking awesome.
And build it within that.
It's fucking awesome.
It's that huge.
Well, that's where they're shooting Star Trek Discovery, I think.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the mega stage, but they're shooting it at Pinewood, I think.
Yeah, because they shoot that show here in Toronto.
Yep.
Great show, too. If for any Star Trek fans, I love that. The first season was it was great.
Nah. Let's see here. Roland Kelly. Hey, Roland. Escape from New York is my favorite, but Escape from L.A. has grown on me. I haven't seen Escape from New York in years, and I've never seen Escape from L.A. because I just didn't really
I saw Escape from L.A., but I didn't see Escape from New York.
Escape from New York is the first one. The better one.
Okay.
From the early 80s.
Okay.
Wayne Downey says, does Toronto still have squeeze left signs? I drove through in the late 90s, and those signs made me laugh.
Yes.
Yes, I think it does. The thing about Toronto, this is the thing about Toronto that a lot of people who aren't from here don't know. Toronto is the 4th largest city in North America.
Yes.
It is the epicenter of entertainment in this country.
Yeah. And economy.
It's the business capital, the financial capital, the sports capital, the entertainment capital, the cultural capital. It's the New York of this country, and it's got 3 million people in Toronto. We have about 7 million now in the GTA.
Yeah,
and it is we're bigger than Chicago, and it's huge. I mean, we forget how big Toronto is becoming.
Yeah, it is.
And and the skyscrapers that are continuing to be built. I think I think there's about 2 or 3 super talls. Well, Wayne says here, when I enjoyed my trip, Wayne, is that the same? Are you the same guy?
Yeah,
same guy
person.
that I said. Yeah. Well, Toronto has grown so much since the late 90s. You wouldn't even recognize it. It is so big now, and so they have. I think there's about 3 or 4 super talls that are currently in the pre-production, if I could use that word, development stage of engineering. And a super tall is a skyscraper that's 300 meters or taller.
Wow.
And there's 3 or 4 of them. There's one being built right now.
Yeah.
And there's 3 or 4 that are about to be built.
Wow.
Like Toronto, and Toronto already has a ton of, you're going to look at Toronto and it's going to look like fucking New York. I mean, it is. It's unbelievable. I mean,
by the time they're done,
compare Toronto and New York is a little bit of hyperbole. I've been to New York many times. It's a city all of its own. It's fucking ridiculous. But when you come to Toronto, you go, there's that vibe. There's that vibe. Smaller scale, but definitely that vibe. So it's an awesome city to be a part of, and they shoot up here all the time.
Yeah.
Escape from Toronto. Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Okay, let's see here.
Yes, Robert Nickerson. Ever heard of Swollen Members, a rap group from Canada? Yes.
I haven't.
I've heard. Yeah, they're from Vancouver, because they came out after the Rascals. The Rascals they were a group that came, if I'm not mistaken, they were from Vancouver as well.
Cool.
And Swollen Members, I remember that. I remember them. They had 2 or 3 major hits on the radio. I think they released 2 albums that were really big.
Right.
Anyway, yes. So I do remember them. I listened to some of their tracks. It was good shit.
Cool.
Yeah.
Video. No. I wanted to hang on. Just
I didn't know that there. So, Mr. La Shuffle.
Yeah.
Thoughts on Breaking Bad movie happening?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I didn't know that there's a Breaking Bad movie. Are you serious? I'm gonna look that up.
Yes.
I'm gonna look that up because I love the series. Yeah. Some of the best. It would be one of my favorite shows. It's definitely one of my favorite TV shows.
Making a Breaking. They are. They're making a Breaking Bad.
Yeah. It's one of my favorite TV shows for sure.
Is it?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Some of the best drama, some of the best television writing. When you get into the later episodes, the stakes are so high. It was just oh my god, I just couldn't.
Yeah.
I lost my shit. Yeah. No, it was great. It was great.
Cool.
It took a few episodes for me to get into it, like probably episode 3 or 4.
Right.
When they disintegrate the body in this giant barrel. It was, oh, wow, okay, this just got real, like real fast too. So
I was trying to look for something. I wanted to, those who haven't been to Toronto, there was a cool shot that I used at the beginning of, maybe it's on, maybe it's here. I'm looking for Halloween. Oh, it's funny. I wonder why I can't find that. This is live. This happens when you do live shit. I should have it. I wonder why it's not coming up. Maybe it's in here.
Oh, yeah. So Alex G asks the question, your thoughts on Tales from the Crypt.
Tales from the Crypt.
Yep. I remember watching that. I enjoyed that. I had a lot of fun watching that.
I remember Tales of the Crypt. What?
And wasn't Lucas one of the producers on that? I thought George Lucas was like an executive producer on that series or something. Or maybe I'm confusing him with somebody else.
I don't know.
If anybody knows, let us know. But
he might be.
I enjoyed Tales from the Crypt.
He might be.
Yeah.
Can you plug that into the top one?
Yeah. Okay.
Thanks, dude. I just want to see if I can find this.
Little studio assistance here.
That's right. Studio assistance.
That's it.
Thank you, Bruce. I really appreciate that. This is live, and when you're live, you gotta fucking, you gotta do shit. You gotta fucking just roll with the punches and shit.
Ooh, okay. So, good question here from Lead Poisoning. The Dark Crystal, anyone? So, yes.
Oh, the Dark Crystal.
The Dark Crystal. I love the Dark Crystal. I have that movie at home, actually. Yeah.
I haven't seen the Dark Crystal in years.
Oh, it's great.
Literally
it's
years.
Great.
I haven't seen it in years.
Like I went back and I watched it maybe like 10 years ago or something.
Right.
And it was still good. Like, again, it's dated, whatever. It was made quite some time ago, but the puppetry and what they achieved with that, because that was Jim Henson Puppet Shop, right?
Oh, yes.
They did all of that.
Yep.
And they did some amazing stuff. They really did. And I've heard rumors over the years about what's it called? Them maybe remaking it or doing a sequel, but it's never come to fruition for a variety of reasons.
I've heard about that.
Yeah.
I've heard about that.
So you know what? That is a movie I would be very interested in watching if they ever made that. Is the Dark Crystal?
Can't find it.
Whether it was a sequel,
no big deal,
or a complete remake.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Well. Jim Dorsey said Dean Cundy was a cinematographer in Tales of the Crypt Killer Santa Claus episode. Cool. I'll have to check that out. I didn't know that. Yeah, so that'll do it for Bruce and I. I think we should wrap it up because that's about 2.5 hours, I think, which is
yeah. Somebody else
awesome.
mentioned in the chat at some point, like impromptu 2 hours.
Yes, that's right.
That's the thing, right? We just start talking and we just like
spur of the moment.
Yeah, so we just we just keep going.
Exactly.
Ooh, okay. So last question here. ACDC 113089. Bruce, are you a fan of The Strangers? Yes. It tripped me the fuck out. And it gave me, like, I don't want to say like nightmares, but any kind of thing in a movie where there's just somebody fucking standing in the corner and they're just staring me down, or that weird feeling of that presence of someone's watching you or something, like that kind of shit trips me out. And that movie, like, and the whole home invasion concept, like that just makes me angry.
I saw the
just hate
sequel.
that shit. Yeah. So it just, I liked it and it just tripped me out.
I like that movie. We saw it in the theater.
That's right.
In 2008. I like that movie a lot. I just recently saw the sequel on Netflix, which is called The Strangers Pray at Night. Pray at Night is P-R-E-Y.
I was curious to watch that.
Or is it P-R? Yeah, I think it's P-R-E-Y. No, I didn't think, and here's how I felt about it, because here's a good way to wrap up this show.
Okay.
So let me just go to my Facebook page and scroll down here. And this is what I thought, for those who don't know, who may not follow me on Facebook. And if you don't, what are you doing? Crazy, you should be following me. Here's what I thought of The Strangers Pray at Night. Let's just scroll down here because I did...
You wrote it? Did a write-up?
Well,
did you do a video? Did you do a review on it?
No, because I just didn't want to fucking take the time to do that. Here's what I had to say. All right.
Okay.
Watch The Strangers Pray at Night. Some genuine mood and atmosphere. Some nice camera movement. Some nice shots. A few genuinely creepy moments. Dumb fucking family.
Wow.
The son doesn't pull the trigger to kill Dollface, and the Pussy of the Year award goes to. If there was ever a I killed in self-defense argument to be made, this was it. The mother, Christina Hendricks, whose stature and boobs alone would knock me through a wall, doesn't turn around and defend herself. She let Dollface get so close I thought they were dating. The dad's a useless stooge who needed to call the testicle store to see if his had come in yet. When the useless son finally decided to grow a pair, naturally it was too late. Nice backstroke, though. That'll make sense when you watch the movie. From the pool scene onward, I enjoyed. This was the moment the script decided to give some tough resistance for our two remaining characters to help justify their decisions. Before that, I felt like I was watching incompetent decisions for the sake of extending the narrative. The cliffhanger ending was silly. First film is superior. That's how I felt about The Strangers Pray at Night.
Okay.
And I felt similarly to, I know this is an unpopular opinion, I wasn't a big fan of A Quiet Place. I wasn't a big fan of A Quiet Place.
I thought A Quiet Place was all right. I enjoyed it. You know, I took it for what it was. And
I couldn't get past the incompetent decisions.
I thought it was all right.
It felt like in order for A Quiet Place to work, the family had to make stupid decisions, which also was fucking my wife so she could get pregnant. And there's an argument that I see people make, well, they had to repopulate the world. No, they didn't have to repopulate the world. It's not up to them to repopulate the world, because clearly there are other people still in the world, as it was made us aware by when one of the characters looks across and sees all the lights turning on from the fires. They're not in an isolated planet. It is an absolute bullshit incompetence to fuck your wife and get her pregnant. It's not incompetent to fuck your wife. I'm just saying to actually have sex with your wife to the point where she's pregnant in a situation where your survival is dependent on you shutting the fuck up. Your survival is dependent on you not making a noise. So what do? You bring a baby into the world. No, this is what happened in the writing room.
You know what I think it was?
This is what happened in the writing room.
But you know what I think it was?
I'm going to tell you what it is. Here's what happened. Okay. Here's what happened in the writing room. Hey, I know. Why don't we have her pregnant, and then that raises the stakes because, oh my God, what's going to happen? She's going to have the baby. But they wouldn't do that if this was actually happening. This is a dumb fucking family to have to get her pregnant. Now listen, if you want to have her pregnant when the movie begins. Have her pregnant. Have the movie begin and her already pregnant. Because then you can say, he fucked her, got her pregnant before all this shit went down. Then it's like,
yeah, but they didn't say that. They didn't say that.
No, I know they didn't say that. I'm saying that's what they should have done. It should have been alluded to the fact that she was already pregnant and oh my God, right? Yeah. Now we're in this, my God. But you mean he had time out to fuck her and get her pregnant? Are you kidding me? Well, that was one example of just stuff I just couldn't. I'm sorry.
You know what? I thought it was all right. I thought it was all right. I enjoyed it. I was entertained, and I enjoyed it, and it was okay. It wasn't a perfect. Yeah, it wasn't a perfect film.
I mean, it wasn't. I didn't. But I couldn't. I couldn't get past many of the incompetent decisions.
Well, you know what I kept thinking is that they just got pregnant like a lot of people do, where it's just unplanned and it was oops.
No, but if you're, dude, if you're working a 9 to 5 job in a regular society, yeah, that's oops.
Yeah, but think about it. What are you doing during a post-apocalyptic time?
Because it's not just a post-apocalyptic time. Your whole survival is dependent on you being quiet.
I know, but there's going to be moments where you're bored.
Incompetent.
Other things that you want to do.
Pull out!
Well,
Pull out!
All right.
That's going to do it for us.
It was great to see you guys. Like, to, well, I didn't actually see you, but see your comments.
Yeah, exactly. We really appreciate you guys tuning in, asking questions. Thank you for everybody who contributed to the super chat. Really appreciate it. Every time that happens, goes right back into the channel and trying to make this channel better and awesome. So again, appreciate it. I think you guys are awesome. I want to get Bruce on this channel a lot more. And we do have some ideas that we're bopping around as well. Tomorrow night, I'm doing a patron-only live stream. It's my Saturday movie night. So that's exclusive to level number 2 and 3 patrons only. But look for the Saturday movie night to be up at around maybe 8:30, 9 o'clock-ish. I'm doing a commentary on Halloween 2, 1981. If you want to watch it live with me, you won't be able to see the movie, but if you want to watch me watch the movie, you have to be part of 2 and 3 on my Patreon. But look out for that tomorrow night because I open it up to everybody tomorrow night. Also Sunday night, Tony and I, of course, doing our regular weekly 2 Dudes and Some Bullshit. So look out for that Sunday night at 7. So yeah, I guess that's it.
That was awesome.
That's up.
Well, thank you.
People can follow you at Dale_Bruce.
Yeah, on Twitter. And then Egyptian Inc. on Instagram.
That's right. And check out his website, brucedale.ca. If you want to follow me on Facebook, the link is in the description. You guys know. Well, maybe I should do it. Well, that's it for me. Hey, if you want to follow me on Facebook, you can at facebook.com/manythingsdave McRae. That's where I tend to post in the meantime and in between time when I'm not posting here. The link is in the description. If you want to help support the channel each and every month via Patreon, that link is in the description as well as links to my IMDb, my Twitter, my... I don't know, whatever the hell's down there. I can't remember now. I think you guys are awesome, and
thank you.
Yeah, we'll talk to you guys soon.
This is great.
All right, signing off here.
All right, see you guys later.
Cheers. We are. Stop streaming. We should stop streaming.
Mm-hmm.
Did we stop streaming? I don't think we stopped streaming. That's hilarious.